First off, forget everything you've ever known about air shows. We're talking 40,000 pounds of thrust racing across your chest at California's most iconic beach destination.
Huntington Beach, California, on one of the best.
And your best friends are all there because they want to be. Because it's not just an air show, it's an experience. We're talking the world's best performers and best teams pushing the edge of what's possible. Things that make you turn your head and scratch it at the same time. VIP meet and greets, social parties, epic hospitality, and a high-octane boat race around Catalina Island. Everything under the sun, and we're just getting started. It's not your hot dog, hamburger, funnel cake, county fair, Miss Maple Pie, make your gut hurt till next week greasy cuisine. The best chefs are here stirring the pots for you again. It's the kind of air show you can have your Top Gun volleyball moment with your beers and best friends and take it all in. And you don't have to like airplanes to know it's bitchin', but don't take my word for it. Ask the million fans yourself. And just when you thought it couldn't get any better, Afterburner is just warming up. We're talking a crowd singing every lyric to your favorite song by your favorite artist right alongside you. Feeling the beach vibes all night long. And when it's all said and done, all you can think about doing is doing it again. Pacific Airshow, redefining the airshow experience. First off, forget everything you've ever known about air shows. We're talking 40,000 pounds of thrust racing across your chest at California's most iconic beach destination.
Huntington Beach, California, on one of the best.
And your best friends are all there because they want to be. Because it's not just an air show, it's an experience. We're talking the world's best performers and best teams pushing the edge of what's possible. Things that make you turn your head and scratch it at the same time. VIP meet and greets, social parties, epic hospitality, and a high-octane boat race around Catalina Island. Everything under the sun, and we're just getting started. It's not your hot dog, hamburger, funnel cake, county fair, Miss Maple Pie, make your gut hurt till next week greasy cuisine. The best chefs are here stirring the pots for you again. It's the kind of air show you can have your Top Gun volleyball moment with your beers and best friends and take it all in. And you don't have to like airplanes to know it's bitchin', but don't take my word for it. Ask the million fans yourself. And just when you thought it couldn't get any better, Afterburner is just warming up. We're talking a crowd singing every lyric to your favorite song by your favorite artist right alongside you. Feeling the beach vibes all night long. And when it's all said and done, all you can think about doing is doing it again. Pacific Airshow, redefining the airshow experience. First off, forget everything you've ever known about air shows. We're talking 40,000 pounds of thrust racing across your chest at California's most iconic beach destination.
Huntington Beach, California, on one of the best.
And your best friends are all there because they want to be. Because it's not just an air show, it's an experience. We're talking the world's best performers and best teams pushing the edge of what's possible. Things that make you turn your head and scratch it at the same time. VIP meet and greets, social parties, epic hospitality, and a high-octane boat race around Catalina Island. Everything under the sun, and we're just getting started. It's not your hot dog, hamburger, funnel cake, county fair, Miss Maple Pie, make your gut hurt till next week greasy cuisine. The best chefs are here stirring the pots for you again. It's the kind of air show you can have your Top Gun volleyball moment with your beers and best friends and take it all in. And you don't have to like airplanes to know it's bitchin', but don't take my word for it. Ask the million fans yourself. And just when you thought it couldn't get any better, Afterburner is just warming up. We're talking a crowd singing every lyric to your favorite song by your favorite artist right alongside you. Feeling the beach vibes all night long. And when it's all said and done, all you can think about doing is doing it again. Pacific Airshow, redefining the airshow experience. First off, forget everything you've ever known about air shows. We're talking 40,000 pounds of thrust racing across your chest at California's most iconic beach destination.
Huntington Beach, California, on one of the best.
And your best friends are all there because they want to be. Because it's not just an air show, it's an experience. We're talking the world's best performers and best teams pushing the edge of what's possible. Things that make you turn your head and scratch it at the same time. VIP meet and greets, social parties, epic hospitality, and a high-octane boat race around Catalina Island. Everything under the sun, and we're just getting started. It's not your hot dog, hamburger, funnel cake, county fair, Miss Maple Pie, make your gut hurt till next week greasy cuisine. The best chefs are here stirring the pots for you again. It's the kind of air show you can have your Top Gun volleyball moment with your beers and best friends and take it all in. And you don't have to like airplanes to know it's bitchin', but don't take my word for it. Ask the million fans yourself. And just when you thought it couldn't get any better, Afterburner is just warming up. We're talking a crowd singing every lyric to your favorite song by your favorite artist right alongside you. Feeling the beach vibes all night long. And when it's all said and done, all you can think about doing is doing it again. Pacific Airshow, redefining the airshow experience. First off, forget everything you...
I need the microphone, or is it going to work off my headset mic?
No. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Putting on mute.
All
1,
good.
2, 3, 4, 5.
Test. Yeah, I can hear it. Oh. Hello. Okay.
Volume down.
On my phone? Check.
Good morning.
When somebody comes on, I'm gonna give you a different headset to put in your ears.
You guys want to do the live streaming?
When somebody comes on?
I have these.
Nico.
Yes.
This is Chief Laughlin.
Hello.
How are you?
How are you?
He's our Coast Guard contact.
Yeah.
You guys will be interviewed.
Very cool. You guys are live right now.
He's gonna run now.
We are live. Good morning, everybody.
You're live.
We're live,
live.
Martin.
Oh,
We are
Eric,
here.
all right. Well, welcome to the 2022 Ocean Cup live from Huntington Beach, California. I'm Martin Sanborn. Eric Nordskog joining me. We're going to be bringing you some information all morning long as they get ready to run these boats for the speed record run around Catalina. Eric, you've got a lot of history on this also. Your dad originally kind of coined the phrase the Rum Run, or your grandfather coined the phrase the Rum Run.
Yes, he did.
So this is a fairly historic race, about 26 miles out, about 26 miles across, about 26 miles back. So last year, the record was set by the Lucas Oil boat, and they're out here seeing if they can beat their number this year. Waiting for the sun to come up, so it's literally nobody's going out running yet.
Yeah, not yet. And I heard something about possible fog out there, but can't see anything at this point. But hopefully the fog will lift and, we'll get a good run for everybody.
Fairly common, especially when we run the Catalina ski race, that we see fog, and there's always a bunch there, but it clears up as soon as you get around the island.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what they come up with. Last year they said was a little bumpy on the backside, which is where it tends to get rough.
It's very bumpy over there. That's for sure.
And there's no wind right now when we were walking out on the beach. Doesn't mean it's going to be calm out there, but it's another reason they run it early in the morning as opposed to in the afternoon.
Exactly.
It can really be bad.
Want the best water for the boats to get the best run possible.
Now, this is being done in conjunction with the Pacific Airshow, which is another great part of this event this weekend.
Yeah.
I'm a little spoiled. My new location is right next to Pensacola, so I get to see the Blue Angels practice all the time.
Oh, there you go.
I got to come to the West Coast to watch them do an air show.
Yeah, it was really exciting last year to watch all the aircraft, the Thunderbirds and the Blue Angels. It was really terrific.
Well, we'll look forward to seeing them. They'll probably be out practicing today, I would expect, and then they'll do the show tomorrow and Sunday. So if we hang around the beach, you're going to get to see them 3 times. And they fly right over my parents' house coming from Long Beach, which is where they're all staged.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. It's really exciting when you see them come over at about, 500 feet off the ground or something, and they come zipping by at 500 miles an hour or whatever. It's amazing.
Yeah, kind of come from nowhere if you're not aware where they're
Exactly.
coming from.
No, really looking forward to that.
Well, this is a 3-day weekend event here. All kinds of aircraft on display. Tomorrow there will be boats. Tomorrow and Sunday, boats will be down here on Main Street. Huntington Beach puts on a great event, and I am originally from Huntington Beach, so this is my hometown event. I love coming back here.
Good. Yeah, my hometown is up in the San Fernando Valley, but about an hour from here. But we love Huntington Beach. Been coming down here for years to watch a lot of the, as well as the boating events, a lot of the surfing events that I'm involved with as well. So it should be a fun day, and hopefully we have good water and everybody's boats are ready to roll. And I believe they're already launched, aren't they? I'm sure they're launched by now.
Should be. They said that the sunrise is at 6:47, so that's about 15 minutes away. I know they get escorted out across the Naval Weapons Station. So I know that was a situation last year. They had to get escorted out. And that was a part of the timing.
Right, exactly. Then they have to be all wrapped up by 9:30 or something because of the air show. They got to clear the water, make sure that there's no boat still running when the airplanes fly over.
Right. Of course, one of the best parts I love watching an air show from the water. Last time I got to do that was actually in Chicago. We were right off the pier, their Navy pier. Got a chance to right underneath the jets. Just awesome. Yeah,
it is awesome. Again, I'm really looking forward to that. And I'm looking forward to see if anybody can set a record today. I think Nigel set the record last year. What was it, about an hour? A little over an hour, I believe, that he
just over an hour.
Like an hour and a minute or something, right? A little over
Let's
an
see,
hour.
they were Ocean Cup 2021, an hour and 10 seconds.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
So he's got to beat by 10 seconds to get into that magical 1 hour number, and that was their first time running their brand new catamaran. So Nigel and I raced against each other for years in V bottoms. So he switched over to catamarans last year, and he's running Class 1 in the new boat. It was originally called Envy, and now it's got its new livery, Lucas Oil.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing that they can start from here, go all the way out to Catalina, go around Catalina, and come back in just about an hour. I mean, that's incredible.
Well, they averaged 112.19 miles an hour, and their top speed was 143 last year.
Nice.
So, and that boat's capable of 160, 165 miles an hour, probably pretty easily. And depending on how they prop it or dial up, they could probably get up to 170 to 180 miles an hour.
Wow. Yeah, that should be terrific if we can get, speeds like that out here today. I don't know. I'm not sure how the water conditions are either at this point.
Yeah, we haven't got any kind of a report on what that's going to be. Now, the teams were all briefed this morning before they got into their boats. So they've got their weather briefing. They've got the water condition briefings. And they've got rescue stuff staged along the way, because this isn't a circuit course where we're going to be able to see and watch it from shore. Once they leave here, we're not going to see them until they come back. And we're hopefully going to get a chance to see some telemetry so we can see where they are, how fast they're going. And this race is really not what people would expect as a side-by-side race. This is a speed record run, so the boats are going to go one at a time. The intention is not to see deck-to-deck racing. They'll let the faster boats go first typically, so that they're not going to come running through slower boats as they get going. So keeps it safer and also keeps it easier for managing the time. Managing the time, because this is about time, how long it takes them to get around the island from start-finish line back to the finish line.
Now we have 5 boats here, actually, and then we have 2 boats from the U.S. Navy.
Yeah, the Navy's going to run
now,
2
that's really
of their
exciting.
boats with their special warfare team. So I had a chance to run with the boat units one time. out at Fountain Powerboats. They had 2 of their interdictor cruisers came out, and we got to go out and play with them.
Nice.
Those guys are crazy. I mean, they
Yeah.
no fear. They're out running the boat. We went out the inlet. It's like, okay, these guys they're not afraid of anything. Here we go.
Now, is it the Navy SEALs that are?
Navy's
Actually-
normally the special warfare team is
Yeah.
the Navy SEAL guys.
Yeah. Now, how many on the crew do you know?
I don't know how many. It's not the same boats that they were in when I was out last time with them. So it's a different boat. They call these the Navy Combat Craft Assaults, CCA vessels, and they're piloted by Special Warfare Combat and Craft Crewman. SWCC is what they sent to us. And there'll be 2 of them out there, and they're entry 6 and 7, and they're going to run part of the course. They're not going to run the entire course.
And what's the length of those boats? And do we have that information, the length and the power that they're running?
I think that they've kept some of that stuff confidential because it's an active
there you
military craft, so they're not telling us what they do. I'm sure they go faster than we think they do.
I remember a few years ago, I was down at in Long Beach with Larry Smith. Believe it or not, we did a little solar boat run that he had that out to Catalina, just to see, a little electric solar boat, and the U.S. Navy had their boat down at the dock that Larry was actually involved with building, and that thing was awesome. Really high tech, amazing craft, but they wouldn't let us go on it. I wanted to poke my nose in and take a look, actually get a ride on it, but it was just really cool that just to see something like that up close. That they use.
Well, you had been to the Fountain Factory back in the day, right?
Yes, I have.
And so we were at, the marina we had at Fountain, they had 2 of those Mark V interdictor cruisers in there.
Nice.
And so we got a chance to board, and they kind of showed us around the boats, these big aluminum jet drive boats.
Yeah.
Crazy
Incredible.
Equipment.
Incredible. So who's the first boat starting today? Do we know that yet? Is it going to be the Lucas Oil boat? Are they going first? Do we have
I would imagine Lucas Oil is going to be the fastest one. It's a catamaran. The other boat that we've got listed here that's going to be pretty quick is Patriotic Duty, and that's a big 44-foot outer limits, and it's got 2,000 horsepower as well. Now, the Lucas Oil boat is running Mercury 1350, so they got a total of 2,700 horsepower in a catamaran, and catamarans are everything is horsepower to weight ratio. Catamarans think they're lighter than they really are because they trap air, so the horsepower effect is dramatically better, which is why catamarans are so much faster than a V-bottom with the same power. But the guys with the outer limits, they might be kind of hoping for a little bit rougher water because V-bottoms have a history of kind of liking rough water. But the Lucas Oil boat is 52 feet long. And size is everything. And if you can span the waves, you can run rough in just about anything.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the Patriotic Duty, now that's Steve Seaton, right? Correct? Yeah, Steve Seaton.
Yep, Steve Seaton and Andy Bellhausen and Tony Adams. Excuse me.
I think, isn't Steve planning on running a record run from San Francisco down to Long Beach coming up? I believe he's trying to break my grandfather's record from many years ago.
I remember I got a chance to spend some time with him because he was so involved with Reggie, and one of the boats was always tied directly with Fountain, and with your dad involved there also. But that run from San Francisco to here, that's another one of those, and you're not doing that in one run. That's a couple of stops along the way. But that can be really rough for the guys that are listening on the East Coast that think the East Coast has got rough water. Nothing like the Pacific. The Pacific on a calm day, you've got a 10-foot swell, but it just might be a mile apart.
Yeah.
But in the afternoon, when it chops up and you got that 8 to 10-foot swell with 4 foot of wind chop on top of it.
That's right.
You come up on a wall of water at 100 miles an hour, and you become a pilot, not a boat driver.
Yeah, especially up north, towards San Francisco, and you come outside of the Potato Patch area, which is right outside of the Golden Gate. That place can get really rough. I remember years ago, my grandfather's 35-foot cigarette split in half just coming through the Golden Gate. He had a big wave. I think it was a big roller from a freighter or something that was coming in or something like that, and split the whole boat in half. Didn't completely cut it in half, but it put a nice big crack in the bottom, So anyway, it gets very rough up there. And looking forward to that with Steve, and I hope that he does well on that race as well.
Nigel, any luck with that squid?
Well, the West Coast was known for the Pacific Offshore Power Boat Racing Association,
Yes.
which, you know, all of your family was involved with, and that's where I started racing. I remember racing up in San Francisco and, you know, race around Alcatraz, and you go out and we
Yeah.
turned around one of the piers at the bridge, and you go out there. It's kind of like when you leave Key West Harbor, you get 1s, 2s, 3s, 6, 8s, and you'd hit this giant wall, and we'd literally turn on the wall and kind of surf it around and then try to make sure you don't get driven into the water or the piling coming back around.
Amazing.
As Bob Teague used to like to say, if you hit the bridge, the penalty is assessed immediately. You know, it takes care of itself at that point.
I think before we even carry on, we should probably put our hearts out to all the people out in Florida who had the nasty Hurricane Ian out there that's really kind of destroyed a lot of the,
Coast Guard says
you know,
It did.
all the way to the island.
Fort
My wife and
Myers
I
on
just
down.
literally just moved from Florida. We were
Wow.
lived in South Florida and Fort Lauderdale. We moved to Alabama, so we're kind of watching it go and it could hit where we are also. Talked to all of our friends, that a bunch of boat racers down there, a bunch of boat dealers down there. Definitely got some damage for friends down in Naples and
Mhm.
Fort Myers. The
Okay,
guys in the
Nigel,
Tampa St. Pete
there's-
area just got
do you
wet.
see the
They were
AT&T
everybody's okay. All the people I
That's
talked
good.
to, but they're saying it was awful. One of our big Nortec dealer down there said they had a handful of boats just get floated off their trailers, all put in a pile.
Incredible.
Water in their showroom. And that's right down there where Nortecs are built. And I haven't talked to Tron to see how they're doing down there. Talked to one of their guys that worked for him, Alden Thornton, who's been around for a long time. He said they're all okay.
Oh, that's terrific.
So hearing that everybody's okay, but there's a lot of damage and there's a lot of work to do. So my wife and I were actually going to call down there and see if any of them need some help, because I got to be down there in a week and a half anyway and help them all out. We're all but one big family in the marine industry, especially the high performance side.
I heard a story on the news that some fella tried to ride out the storm in his boat, and he ended up on the roof when when everything settled. His boat was on top of a rooftop. I mean, that's incredible and amazing.
Well, I watched some video of boats going down a street. So just floating down, and sailboats have a massive keel, and there were sailboats
Yeah,
floating down.
that is incredible.
The governor called it a 500-year storm.
Yeah.
So as far as flooding, big deal. The flooding is the biggest problem. The wind is obviously an issue. They were saying gusts over 150 miles an hour, but a lot of storm surges. You just sat there and packed it in.
Yeah.
In our area, we had the front came down from the north and kind of steered it across the state, and it pushed all the water out of Mobile Bay where we were. So we were out, we were down 5 feet of water at our house before we left.
That's amazing.
So,
well, again,
You
our
can't
hearts
mess with
go
Mother
out to
Nature.
everybody there, and praying for everybody to be safe and move on with their lives.
absolutely, and kind of rebuild and get stuff put back together, and hopefully get power back. It's just we're praying for people the whole time when we watch them. Having lived through them, being in South Florida, hurricanes are serious.
It's one thing, being a California kid, that I haven't experienced yet was a hurricane. We've had the earthquakes out here, but no hurricane.
Which they all think we're crazy for earthquakes. I don't know how you guys deal with earthquakes. And this is because an earthquake just comes and you don't have a
Right,
week of buildup
right.
to get you there.
Here's the picture of the boats right now.
It looks like we've got some images going on right now over, and look, one of the military boats right there. Looks like
Okay, yeah, I see
the
them.
Lucas Oil boat. So it's still dark.
I see a little bit of light coming out here if we look out the window, and I do see a little bit of cloud and fog. I don't know, it's maybe about a mile or so visibility out there, and looks like there's some swell action as well. So
Double check, please.
it should be an interesting run.
Well, a mile visibility when you're doing 130 miles an hour is not a lot.
Is not a lot.
So the upside is we were talking last night with some friends that were involved with the Catalina ski race. We can just go out to one point and come back to one point.
Yeah.
And the crazy part about that is when you've got fog, is you head out and you make the turn at Avalon. If you're one of the lead boats, and I got the tour of some of the expert guys and the senior guys. So we were one of the first 5-10 boats out there. When you make the turn and come back towards the fog, you still have all those other boats coming at you. So you got closure rates of 140 miles an hour pulling skiers.
Yeah.
Craziness.
Absolute crazy.
Let's take a look at the rest of the guys that we have on the list.
Sure,
So we got Patriotic Duty, number F18, Alan Bellenhausen, Tony Adams, and Steve Seaton. And the Lucas Oil boat, E3, that's Jay Hook. It's number A77. Nigel Hook and Jay Johnson, the team that raced with us for years in the V-bottoms. So we had the big rivalry. He was tied with Larry Smith, so he was running the Scarab. I was running the Fountain. That was the big rivalry of the day. We've got Copeland Marine number 41, Andy Copeland, and we have the throttleman yet to be named. Revelation Racing number 666, Michael Drury and Chris Camry, and that is a small boat. That's a 28-foot Levy craft. And then we've got Jolly Roger with Kyle Lancon and Tim Pattison, and that is a 28-foot V-bottom also. They didn't give us the manufacturer on that one. And it's an outboard-powered boat, it looks like.
Now, does it show on our sheet here where they're from, the location where they're coming from, these each driver and boat team?
It doesn't. I know Nigel's here from Southern California.
I know Patriotic Duty, I believe they're up north, like San Francisco area, I think.
So we'll see if we can get some of that information and pass on some of the demos of where those guys are from.
I'm trying to figure out who came the farthest, you know. Who,
Yeah, exactly.
Clarify, which Wi-Fi did you connect to?
About race control being here.
I'm sorry, you said we lost the Wi-Fi connection?
No, she's talking.
Okay, we're still good here.
You're fine. You guys want to talk about race control being in here?
So we'll see if we can get some update if they have started marshaling the boats out.
To connect to the other one, because this will drop when you're.
No, it should be a really good and fun day. Again, looking outside here, the water looks kind of flat at this point, and
Well, I don't want
looks like
to,
the fog is actually lifting a little bit. I can see a little bit more than a mile. So I believe it's race is ready to go, man. We're all ready.
Looking forward to some of the telemetry. The Lucas Oil team has been kind of pioneers in getting us telemetry in the racing. When we raced into Europe, we were dealing with it, and over here, last year we got a chance to see some of that telemetry in effect. And because it wasn't satellite based, when it got behind the island, we lost them until they kind of got back within. It was cell service based at the time, and they're trying to get it back to where we can deal with satellite, so we can see where everything is. Get telemetry off the boats, we'll get data off the boats, and of course be able to see where they are to a little more effectively predict.
Now that's fun to have the telemetry because, you know, back in the old days, we didn't have any of this stuff, and we had to navigate as well by compass heading and charts that we had to put together, you know, to do the run. And everybody's got GPS and everything's it's a completely different type of navigation.
Well, we weren't even when the GPSs came out, we weren't allowed to use them. Navigation was part of the whole thing, which is why in the old days in the offshore boats, you shot 3 guys on the boat. You had a driver, a throttleman, and a navigator.
Yes.
I remember one of the first things we had to do, my first offshore races, they just say, all right, here's your coordinates. And you had to break out your compass and set up your headings and all that so you knew where you were going and how far it was. And we, doing it with a stopwatch to know in bad weather.
Yeah, so
the worst fog race I raced in where we had to do that was Biloxi one year, and it was just I don't even know how we raced it, to tell you the truth, but it was 100% compass and how long should it take to get to that
point at what speed you're at.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
those are the fun days, I believe, of racing, where it's just unpredictable, you know.
Yeah, us old timers in it look at that and go, that's when it really was a whole different animal than it is now. And of course, there are a lot of the purists and offshore racing used to be, you leave Miami, you run to Nassau, if you made it back, you probably won.
Right.
Now it's closed course racing, but it also dramatically changed how the boats are built.
Yeah.
When I was at Fountain, how it changed how V-bottoms have to turn all of a sudden. You had to start designing the boats so they turned, and it ultimately related to the customer that all the manufacturers started building boats that were not only fast but could turn.
Yeah.
We just made it safer for everybody, and also put the races where you can see the whole thing.
Yeah.
So it's a lot more exciting for the fans, for sure.
That is for sure. We will see them though start right off the pier again, like last year, right? They started right off the pier, which was really, really awesome. We got some great video of actually the Lucas boat and all the other boats, like, I don't know, maybe 100 yards off the pier, which was amazing shots that we got. They just came roaring by the pier, and then they take a heading south pretty much, right? It's like a direct south out to Catalina Island, and then they head around the island and come on back.
Yep,
And
they
then
kinda hit the-
you're going to
hit the
finish off the
shiprock
pier.
and go across the backside.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I haven't been out there in a long time myself. Remember racing around the backside, but like you said earlier, that backside gets really nasty and rough.
In all my years living out here, never gone around the backside of the island. Run the Avalon, run to the Isthmus side, run the Shiprock, but never gone all
Never
the way
gone
around. In Catalina race, we just raced, for the skis, we just raced Avalon and make the turn back.
Yeah.
And in all the years we raced in Huntington on the Pacific Offshore Series, we just raced right along here on the coast from the inlet to the pier. So it's fun. Back in the day there, I remember in Bob Teague's office, he's got a picture of all the U.S. national champions from 1999, and every single team that won the U.S. national championship on the national tour was from Popra.
Wow.
So big deal. It was huge back then.
Yeah. Yeah, those were good days. I remember that.
So we've got, we're waiting to see where everybody's going to come out on the water, and we're getting some sunshine coming up. Definitely, we've got that low overcast layer that you get here on the coast this time of the year. It doesn't usually burn off until mid-morning or so.
Yeah. It should be a good crowd that's going to be down here too, especially with the air show going on. It'll be thousands of people down here, especially over the weekend. And they're also going to have the boats on display all weekend, I believe,
down
right?
on Main Street, right underneath where we are.
Yeah. So if you want to come on down, just check out the boats and, see them up close, meet some of the drivers and crew. They will be down there and you could talk boats. So come on down to Huntington Beach, watch the airplanes and check out the race boats.
So the schedule that they got for us right now is at 6:15, the team's got their final briefing and weather report. At 6:30, they are supposed to be pulling out of the Sunset Aquatic Marina. 6:46 is sunrise, so we should have just hit sunrise. 7 o'clock, the boat should be milling just south of the Huntington Beach Pier, and at 7:10, we're looking for the first competitor to leave, which I would expect to be the Lucas Oil boat because that boat should be the fastest boat out there. The final boat will leave at 7:30, and officially at 9:30 is when the airbox closes so that we're done and they can get set up for the air show.
Yeah, everybody has to be back because the airplanes and the aircraft definitely need a clear, open area out off the pier. And now we're going to have a helicopter too, it looks like here, that is going to be doing some live streaming, which would be really awesome. So we should be able to get some great photos and great video for you of the
Right
actual
now they're
boats running.
saying- Just got an update. They're saying there's a 200-foot ceiling near the island, so they can't fly. That puts them too close to the water. So if they start at 7, they could do is fly the pier and get to the start. So that's the Coast Guard.
Well, it's going to be a fun day watching all the boats again, and for me, it's a lot of fun to be back and sitting here with you again, Martin, as we did last year, and it was a lot of fun. And I'm glad I'm part of the event and can bring a little history to the event. I do have the Rum Run trophy in my car, which we will be on display at the dock, and some other memorabilia I brought down, which would be kind of cool for people to check out.
I loved when we were here last year and you brought it again. You have got a stack that has got to be one of the most valuable stacks of historic information sitting right in front of you from years of offshore powerboat racing, and all the way from your grandfather through your dad, Powerboat Magazine, the beginning of Popra.
Yes, I do. I show the very first Rum Run was looks like we had it in March of 1968, and it took them 2 hours and 7 minutes, but it was a different course back then. They didn't run around the island. They actually ran up the coast and around the Palos Verdes Point area and head up toward Malibu and back. So it was a completely different course at the time. Then they had the Hennessy Challenge race that they would actually go out to Catalina and back. But the first race in 1968, it was won by a fellow named Bob Rodman. in the boat named Holocaust, which the next year my grandfather ended up purchasing that boat and ran it the next year in 1960, actually a few months later. And he went from 2 hours and 7 minutes in the first race. My grandfather did it in 1 hour and 53. So we got a lot of history here with all the different Rum Run winners here. From 1968, 1969, we had Bill Dunsmore, did it in 1 hour and 47 minutes. 1969, Peter Rothschild.
Wow.
And his boat called Thunderballs. I do remember that big boat. And that was 1 hour and 21 minutes. 1970, Rudy Ramos, 2 hours and 3 minutes. And then we had Alan Sundin in a boat called Suddenly 2, 1 hour and 40 minutes. And let's see, 1971, Gil Gilbert in a Spectra Marine Special, 1 hour 30 minutes. 1971, Les Kepler, Spectra Marine, 1 hour 47 minutes. And 72, Ernest Kanzler. The boat name was called Pony Galore 2, 1 hour and 47 minutes. Then we get to 1972, Bob Nortskog. I recognize that name. The boat was American Viking. Actually, that boat was a 27-foot Magnum that he ran with twin outboards. And a few years later, not a few years later, it was many years later, my brother and I actually ran that boat. When Grandpa was running the Scarab, he let my brother and I run the old American Viking boat, which was a lot of fun. He did that in 2 hours and 13 minutes. 1973, we got Barry McCown in Bonsai, 1 hour 42. 1973, Barry did it again. Same boat, 1 hour 30. And then we go to 1974, Bob Nordskog, Powerboat Magazine Special. That was the 35 cigarette, the one I was talking about earlier that split in half. And 1 hour 27 minutes. And then we have old Betty Cook in the Mongoose boat, 1 hour and 24 minutes. And 1975, Billy Martin, Bounty Hunter.
Right.
1 hour 28. 1977, again, Billy Martin, 1 hour 25 minutes. And then the 78 was Jim Ross and Spectacular, or Spectacular. And then 1979 was Bob Nortskog again in the Skyhawks, which was the 38 Scarab that he ran. And then the race went away for a few years, and then we brought it back.
So this is a big deal that this is back, and it's
a big deal.
Back to stay. This is happening, and like you said, that perpetual trophy is a big deal.
Yeah.
For that to be down there and get your name on that trophy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we've got Nigel's name on it now for the last 2 races, and so his plaques are on there, and as well as all the other greats that I just talked about, all their names are on there, and it's kind of like the Stanley Cup trophy of boating here. We just keep adding more names to it, and eventually the trophy will get bigger and bigger and bigger.
Right. Or the names get smaller.
Or the names get smaller and smaller. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Well, and you through that list you rattled off, you also there's an evolution of the technology of the boats, because back then there wasn't 100-mile-an-hour offshore boat,
right?
And they just didn't happen.
Yeah.
And then we've evolved now that you genuinely have offshore power boats that a consumer can buy that can run just under 200 miles an hour.
That is amazing.
It is amazing.
And it's kind of scary if you think about it. You've never been in a boat like this before, or even run a catamaran, which are a whole different type of hull and different type of racing, different type of, driving these boats compared to a V-bottom. And you get out there and you don't know what you're doing, and you have all that horsepower and you could run that speed. It gets a little crazy.
Well, you've watched the videos, it happens fast. It goes from I'm in control to what happened instantaneously. V-bottoms are even, how do I word it? Art Lilly, good friend from years, raced, switched over from V-bottoms to catamarans, and he said, man, Martin, once you go to catamarans, it's like a flying carpet. They're just smooth and everything else, but you get a little bit too much positive angle of attack in a catamaran, you go upside down backwards. V-bottoms, on the other hand, you start getting up to 100, 120, 130 miles an hour, which is where we ultimately ended up racing those boats. There's nothing near. You're driving a missile with a powertrain, and they're twitchy, and you go to turn them, they're a whole nother animal. But even those, they got to the point where the horsepower and the technology was there. You could get one of those with an open cockpit that ran over 130 miles an hour.
Amazing. Yeah, my grandfather actually had the record that we set right off here years ago, and it was at 90 miles an hour. So that was the world's record back in the 80s, was 90
Right.
at an offshore V-bottom. And now, like you said, the power and the speed is incredible.
And I was blessed at the time. Like I said, I worked with Fountain, and Todd Welling and I set the world speed record at 143 in a Super V. And then the Pier 57 boat was 0.6 of a mile an hour faster in an open boat. So they were just 144 or 144. Then it got bumped up to 177.
That's amazing.
So it's just, and Outer Limits currently holds the record now. Since Fountain changed ownership, they haven't really chased a speed record again. But I mean, 177 miles an hour in a V-bottom.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I could even imagine that, heading out to Catalina at 177 miles an hour.
No, I don't think we wouldn't be doing speed record runs in the Pacific. I can tell you, we're doing those on a river.
Yeah, exactly. You'd be catching some serious air. That's for sure.
Well, let's talk about some of the things that they have on
Okay.
these boats. We mentioned they had their comm check at 610. Satcom Direct is their system that handles that. They're a leading provider of fully integrated end-to-end global satellite communication solutions, which is really helpful on these boats when they get way out there. They're customized to meet the unique requirements of our business, aviation, government, land, mobile, and marine customers. Satcom's direct spirit of innovation and deep customer focus underpins everything they do. And they were founded in 1997. With the advent of all the satellite technology, it's what is ultimately going to give us the ability as commentators to be able to watch a race on a screen, no matter where they are. First time I got to see that was a jet ski race in the Caribbean, where they raced from island to island, and we were commentating on one island, watched the entire race on the screen. Once they left our visibility, could see all of the skis. So very cool, and it really makes it neat for the spectators when they're watching online. You can see what's happening, the names of the boats, how fast they're going. It's pretty neat operation.
Yeah.
Now, of course, it's a little easier when they're going in one big lap. That's the whole race. We've tried it on circuit courses where the jet skis are running on a 2-mile course or the boats are on a 2-mile course. It starts getting confused when you've got all those boats on there and they start passing each other.
Right.
But again, for commentators, now I can see where people are on the whole race course. Satellite technology is awesome, and it's just getting better and better for the communications, and that automatically eventually translates to the consumer. So your pleasure boats are going to start getting that kind of access, which just makes it safer boating, especially when you're getting farther offshore. You have access to communications and help to get to the Coast Guard, to get to the rescue people.
Yeah, exactly. The old school offshore racing, you would just take off and you'd be out there for, an hour or 2, 3 hours, even more sometimes, and nobody would see you. You had no idea where the boats were. You just hear the checkpoints, communicating back to race control of who was in first. I do see a boat that just went across here, right across the pier just a moment ago. So somebody is out there getting ready. Not sure who that is. Is that Lucas Oil? It looks like a pretty big boat out there. Can't tell from here.
The black boat, that could have been that Ray Marine boat, which I believe is the big the big Outer Limits.
Okay.
Patriotic Duty.
Now, Patriotic, that's a V-bottom, right?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Now, there's another satellite company that's involved with the operation here, and that's Cobham. They're a leading global technology and service innovator, and they're respected for providing solutions to the most challenging problems, with satellites ranging from deep space to the depths of the ocean. So we got the weather report, and we look out there right now. It doesn't really look like it's foggy. We can see some tankers that are quite a ways offshore.
Yeah.
And just because of the shape, and I'm sorry, I turned away from the microphone, my voice changes there. But ultimately, as they go out there, they get that fog bank that's offshore.
Yeah,
So
like
we'll
you
see
said,
what
the
it
fog
looks like.
should probably lift like it always does out here anyway. As soon as we get a little heat, it'll just burn off. So I think we'll be good to go probably. To me, they could run out there right now, but it's up to the Coast Guard, I guess, to give the final approval.
Yep. And of course, we do have a hard stop, so they're going to have to get the every bit of delay just shuts down that they'll stop this course. This course goes dead at 9:30. 9:30, the airbox closes, and that's the official end of the race.
Pacific Airshow.
Well, I'm glad everybody is watching online. I'm glad I get to sit here and do this event again. I get to sit with my old buddy Martin. So it's going to be a good day for all of us, and we wish safe travels to all the boats and the racers out there. A safe run and get back in good timing. And I hear a little feedback. There's something going on here.
That was off. That one's off altogether also.
I know people, we're still on, right? We're still good. You can see online, I brought some old photos here just to kind of keep things going here. This was number 33 boat. This was the Holocaust boat I talked about earlier that won the very first and second Rum Run years ago. It's a 27-foot Thunderbird.
Wow.
And became Bob Nordskog's boat for a while. But I've got some old photos here that are kind of fun to look at. I don't know if they can see them online. This is the 27-foot Magnum. I was telling you about American Viking. It actually had the two Johnson motors on the back. I think this particular boat would run about 70, 75 miles an hour. I think that was about the tops. Maybe that's even giving it a little bit too much, but it's a boat my brother and I ran too, so we had a lot of fun in that. It's nice that Grandpa allowed us to do that.
Yeah.
And he paid the bill too for all the fuel and entry costs. It's not.
He really drove what turned into the offshore powerboat universe.
Yeah.
Especially on this coast. I mean,
Yeah.
Miami had its own version of all that going on, but
right.
And then once Powerboat Magazine became the absolute dominant media outlet for that, genre of boat all the way around. So, and that's how I got to know all of them, is through that connection as well.
Yeah, I'm sporting my old Powerboat Magazine T-shirt here. If anybody can see it, it has a 35 cigarette on it, and I also have a vintage Powerboats rule button that you can't find anymore that Powerboat Magazine had years ago. We're talking, this was from the late 60s, I believe.
The image on it looks very early 70s.
Yeah, it's probably late 60s, early 70s.
Late
yeah,
60s,
somewhere
early 70s.
around there. But yeah, I just figured I'd bring some old stuff here so everybody can see that, which is really fun.
Now we look at today's universe as far as the Ocean Cup has kind of taken over on the APBA UIM for dedicated speed record runs. And this year they ran a Palm Beach to Freeport, Bahamas. And Lucas Oil did that run in 58 minutes and 3 seconds. And in Class B, Cigarette Racing did it in an hour and 31 minutes and 5 seconds. And I want to say that was, I think that was in a 50-foot Marauder. I'm not positive. Last year at the Rum Run, of course, Lucas Oil did it in 1 minute and 10 seconds. So they missed that 1 hour mark by, well, all right. I know that they can't possibly out of the water because Jay Johnson just walked in. And he is the driver in the Lucas Oil boat.
Mark.
Not?
No, that's not Jay.
Herb.
Oh, Herb. Herb Stoller. I'm looking. All right, you walked in.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
I think Jay's probably out on
Yeah,
the boat
Jay's gotta be
somewhere.
out there.
He better be out there. Yeah, we have actually race control right across the street from the Huntington Beach Pier. So as we look out our window, you can actually see the pier, and we'll be able to see the boats start right off here, which would be really fun.
So, Herb, are you going to get a chance to watch the telemetry on the engines and everything from here? You going to get that kind of data?
Yes, sir. That's what we're looking at now.
So again, as I mentioned, that's one of the things Lucas has done a really good job of, is bringing that telemetry. And so the satellite stuff, they were also capturing all kinds of data off the engines, what's happening on G-forces on the boat, all that kind of data comes back to them. It's just, the marine industry has traditionally been a long ways behind the automotive industry and that kind of stuff. That's been on racetracks for a long time in cars, but bringing it to the marine industry, you got to give Lucas Oil and their team credit for really driving that bus.
I agree. I think it's a great thing that they're doing, and it makes it more exciting for all of us to watch and to kind of see what's going on inside the boat, inside the cockpit, inside the engine compartment, that kind of thing. So
now, for the people looking online right now, they have the telemetry up, so it looks like the boats are all just off of our vantage point here, right across the street from the pier on Main Street. So we should see the boats get ready to get going.
and what's our timing now? Let's see, it's a little after 7. And so, yeah, you're right. Anytime we should be getting going here. Do see a little bit of a wind chop out there as well, but that should be okay. Nothing wrong with a little wind chop.
Nope. Looks like we've got some surfers out in the water, so that tells you there is a little bit of wave action.
Well, it is Huntington Beach here, you know.
Exactly.
Surfers are always in the
Surf
water
City.
pretty much. Yeah, exactly.
Now, the Ocean Cup has also opened it up to, for the first time, we're seeing center consoles actually involved in these speed
Correct.
record runs. And last year, an MTI center console did it in 1 hour and 31 minutes.
Wow.
And the center console market has dramatically evolved, and largely thanks to Mercury for giving us more and more power on an outboard. But now I think the fastest one out there, full decked out center console with the console top and everything, 103 miles an hour.
Wow.
So, all right, getting an update here. Looks like helicopter is lifting off.
Okay, that's good news.
Footage soon.
They said they can't fly all the way to the island. Just so you know, spooling up now. Give us 15 minutes to get out before they drop the flag. So as soon as the
Okay.
helicopter gets out here,
Ready to go.
we're ready to go. They haven't given us an order yet, but if I had to guess, I'd say that the Lucas Oil boat's going to go first. Patriotic Duty is going to go second. The next big boat is going to be Copeland Ray Marine. So that the Ray Marine is the 41. That's that black one that we saw go by. They've got a total of 3,200 horsepower. They may actually go second. Then the two 28-foot boats. One is an outboard. Actually, I'm pretty sure the Levy craft. Oh, that's no, it's got 300 XS engines. So that's an outboard. And so is the 2021, the Jolly Roger boat is also an outboard boat. And that just says 300 Mercuries.
Okay, we have the order right here. The Navy boat.
Okay,
Now, is there
Navy
just
boats.
one of them or two?
There's 2.
There's 2. Okay, so the 2 Navy boats are going to run first. Then we have Revelation Racing will be going second. Jolly Roger third. Patriotic Duty fourth. Ray Marine fifth. And Silverhook Lucas Oil will be rounding it out.
Wow. I would have thought that had gone the other way around. So that means the Lucas Oil boat is going to be catching
Passing
boats as they
everybody.
get going.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, it does make a certain amount of sense since we now, and that could be maybe because we had the delay in the start to get the weather to clear, so that the other boats have as much time as possible on the course before the course closes.
Yeah.
So that could be
makes sense.
also.
That makes sense. Now, Copeland there, I recognize that name. Is that relation to
I
the
don't think
Copeland?
it's not related to Al.
It's not. Okay. I
no.
was wondering about that, if that was a relative, a family member or whatever.
I'm pretty sure it's not.
Al Copeland ran the old Popeyes
Yep.
boats years ago and was a big time racer. And was he was a national champion too, I believe, right?
Yeah, national world champion.
Yeah.
I mean, he was kind of everything, and he actually founded Popeyes.
Popeyes chicken.
And Copeland's
Yeah.
restaurants,
There
big
you
deal
go.
on the East Coast.
Yeah. So I saw that name. I just thought maybe it was a family member or whatever, but
So there you're seeing the Ray
Okay.
Marine boat on your screen there.
now
That boat looks like that boat's a 42-foot fountain.
can always tell a fountain. He's got that nose. Always has that.
And looking at the style of canopies on that boat, at the day we built 3 or so of those that had that style canopy in a 42.
Now, years ago, Reggie actually built his very first offshore race boat went to my grandfather,
Hmm.
the fountain, and he loved that boat. He really loved that boat. It was the last boat that he ran up until he passed away, actually 2 weeks after his last race, which he won.
Didn't
Okay.
Larry Kramer end up with that boat? That boat set up
At T.
Bob's
Cuss
place
Marine.
for quite a bit.
Yeah, I don't know if it's still there or not, but it was a beautiful boat. It was rigged by Bob and Norm Teague, and they always do such a beautiful job in rigging. You know, just impeccable. Everything's just perfect on those boats, and so yeah, Larry got a good boat when he got that. So I just heard the helicopter is up and running. So we're talking maybe just how long? 15 minutes? 10 minutes? 10
If
minutes.
he's coming from Long Beach, he's only going to be 5 minutes, 10 minutes.
Okay, 10 minutes. Excellent. Excellent.
And you are listening to live coverage of the 2022 Ocean Cup, live from Huntington Beach, California, and the Pacific Airshow. This is an APBA UIM world record setting event. So the record that comes out of here will be certified by the UIM, which is the Union of International Motorboating. That is the international sanctioning body for offshore powerboat racing, and APBA is the American affiliate of the UIM. If I had to guess at the speeds on the 28-foot boats, they're both V-bottoms. I'm going to guess that with those 300s, they're probably 65, 70 miles an hour, probably top speeds. If that fountain has 3,200, that 3,200 horsepower, that boat is easily capable of over 140 miles an hour. Whether they'd actually run it that fast depends on the water conditions. Nigel's boat, when it's in the 1350 mode, because I don't think they're the dual calibration motors. Mercury has a really cool configuration where, depending on what fob you have, and we have our helicopter over the top.
Yeah, helicopter's up. You should be seeing the feed right now. There we go. Now you always get the best views from the helicopter, that's for sure.
Yep. That helicopter, looking at the dashboard, looks like it's a Robertson, so it's not going to keep up with the boats for long. Once they take off, they're going to go.
I was lucky enough one year to actually ride in a helicopter over the race out to Catalina and back. Wasn't in a boat, was in the helicopter, and that was really fun. But you know, the helicopter was off the deck of the boats. I mean, maybe like, I don't know, 20, 30 feet off the deck. I mean, we were flying really low, but we were getting some great footage back in those days. But that was quite a ride.
We always got great pictures from the helicopters, but I hated when they were right over the top of you, because it starts messing with the aerodynamics of the boat.
Yeah, exactly.
And the catamarans, it's a real problem.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, I bet.
But I was talking about the dual calibration motors. Motors, and then they've got 1350, 1550s. So it depends on what fob you have that activates it. It changes the settings on the motor. They're running 1350s in Jake's Nigel's boat with Jay, and that boat's capable of running 160, 170 miles an hour probably in its current configuration. Patriotic Duty with its power, that boat's probably also capable of 130 miles an hour.
Now, what was the average speed last year that
112.
the Lucas boat? It was actually 112.
Yeah,
now, that's incredible.
It was 112.19 miles an hour and a top speed of 143.
That's incredible if you think about it. 112 average.
Average.
Yeah.
And you know what the water's like on the back
Yeah.
to be able to do that.
Yeah, exactly. So there were times when they were really smoking out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
hope to see that again.
The V-bottoms are capable of running those kind of speeds, but they're not going to run 112 miles an hour the whole way.
Yeah.
There's just no way.
Yeah,
Certainly depends on the water conditions.
Yeah, it looks like the helicopter is getting closer. And again, looking outside, it looks like to me that the fog is actually lifting more and more. We can't see Catalina yet, but
We get to where we can see Catalina, then
we
it's going
know.
to be a fast run.
then we know it's good to go. And we could already see the traffic is starting to developed down here on PCH, and there's going to be a lot of people down here. So if you can make it down here, come on down. Check out all the festivities and the fun, and come see the boats on display over the weekend, and check out the air show, which is awesome. You have to go to the air show once in your life.
You have to.
It's completely amazing. Last year was the first time for me to actually see the air show up close like this, and I was just in awe. You're in awe.
It's hard to consider what those guys do work. I mean, it just looks like they're just having a gas. Of course, at some point, people are shooting at you, so it's a whole different level. But to be able to go out there and push something that has 40,000 pounds of thrust,
Incredible.
Unbelievable.
Incredible. Yeah, you don't even hear them coming. All of a sudden, they sneak up on you, and before you know it, you're just like shaking on the beach. And yeah, it was really, really a lot of fun. Okay, it looks like the helicopter is over the water now. So we're getting close.
Yep, he's just coming up to the pier from the south side.
Now we have the Coast Guard out here, a few vessels out here.
Yeah, I think they've got boats at several points on the course. Like you were talking about, that's the way you used to report back to race control as to where people were, and that's what they have to do on a race like this. So there are going to be boats that are going to reporting back that this boat just passed us, and we'll have ideas on where they are when they're out of our visual range. Now, I'd be curious to see how far the helicopter is going to fly.
Yeah, it'd be great to get good shots around the backside of Catalina, but I guess it depends on the.
You look at the helicopter shot right now. I don't even see a swell.
I can actually see the helicopter from out my window now. So he's up there ready to roll. Yeah, it should be exciting. Again, come on down to the pier and check it out. I mean, these boats there's nothing like these boats. These are the top of the line, high performance craft.
Big boats. When you come down and see how big these boats are, and then you start thinking about how fast they move. I mean, you're talking about something that weighs 3 or 4 times the weight of a car.
Yeah,
moving at the speeds they move. It's just amazing how the technology has evolved.
Yeah, it sure has. It sure has. And one of these days, I'm gonna try to get Nigel to give me a little ride in that thing. 140-mile-an-hour ride out to Catalina would be fun.
Yep. I was going to call one of my buddies that has a boat down here and say, maybe a good place to watch an air show is from a boat. There's just nothing cooler than when they go buzzing over you and you're on the water.
Yeah.
But they definitely have the buffer zone, and they want that all open for the planes flying. When they run over the ocean,
somebody just took off
pretty fast.
Navy boat just took off.
Okay, the Navy boat looks like there's 2 of them running together, and they just went in front of the pier just now. So they are on their way. But now they're not going to do the whole course. Is that the case? Or they're just doing like a test run? Or do we know? Are they going around Catalina?
They have their own route.
They have their own little special route, their little sneak route. Okay. Yeah, I can actually see them going right now, and the helicopter's right over them, and I'm sure you can see that live. Yeah, terrific. That's a great shot. Especially when you see them running side by side. It's really cool.
Yay, this is amazing.
If you're one of the bad guys, you don't want to see those boats coming at you.
No. I'm sure they have some firepower on board, I'm sure.
Pretty sure.
That we don't know about.
That's right.
Yeah.
Now, for those that are thinking about coming down by water, the safety zone is very strictly regulated, and it's going to be controlled Thursday through Sunday from 7 in the morning to 5 in the afternoon. So if you want to transit across that, you either need to get permission via VHF channel 16, or you have to seek permission by calling area code 310-521-3801. You have to have permission to go through that, or you will get chased down by the Coast Guard, and it will not be a good day.
You want to talk about who our sponsors are at all?
Absolutely. Let me flip to that page. In the meantime, good afternoon, Mark Austin. I hope you're doing well, buddy. I saw you just popped up. I love having the notes pop up on the screen. That's great.
Move inside your face. We can see you. You want to see your pretty face.
So one of our key sponsors, here is Fletcher Jones Motorsports. They're Mercedes and Audis. They've been an overall sponsor since 2021. They started 76 years ago in 1946 with Fletcher Jones Sr. met a man on a golf course who would forever change his destiny. He was impressed by how successful the man had become by selling cars. The USC student decided to switch gears from being a law student to becoming an entrepreneur in the burgeoning automotive retail industry. And after scraping together $1,200, a veritable fortune in those days, $1,200. You know, there are guys that spend that much just to put the gas in their boat for the weekend. So that tells you
It's probably double that now.
$1,200 isn't going to cover the gas here in California.
That's
I'm
for
looking
sure.
at the prices here. It was like just under $6 a gallon for regular. It's crazy.
I paid $6.20 yesterday. Amazing.
Oh my gosh. But they sold their first vehicle for $70.
Wow.
So as the years went on, Jones Sr. passed his legacy to Fletcher Ted Jones Jr., who worked at a wide array of entry-level positions ranging from sweeping the facility's floors and working in the parts department before advancing into sales and management solutions.
Sounds
And
familiar.
that's another tendency that seems to have gone away, that working your way through the ranks thing. So that's when you get to the point where you're in charge and you've been through every level, you've got it figured out.
Yeah, there you go.
So it says, with his father's guidance, Ted opened his own dealership in the city of Whittier, where he sold Mazdas. Within a few years, the decision to sell fuel-efficient cars would prove fortuitous as the oil crisis loomed and Americans began exploring their options for more fuel-efficient vehicles. I remember that during the late 70s also, when they remember the days where you had to have an odd number license plates. You bought
Sure, yeah. Odd even.
Oh, yep, crazy.
I was always odd for some reason. I don't know why.
You had to have less than a half a tank of gas or you weren't
Yeah.
getting gas. I remember those days.
Yeah.
All right, looks like our next boat is up and running. Oh, here's another blast from the past you might recognize. Mark Spencer.
Spencer.
Spencer's
yeah.
saying hello. Hey, Mark, hope you're doing well. Mark is back involved with Fountain Powerboats. They're getting the band back together.
Ah, the band. Yeah, Mark and I have actually been corresponding lately about. I got a bunch of old photos going way back. I mean, hundreds of them, and we got to do something with them. So we're going to try to figure out a way to share the photos and get them all scanned and get them out there to the world to where everybody can enjoy them.
Yeah,
So
Mark
thank you
is-
to Mark for that.
Mark's another one of those guys that has just a lot of history, and he and I have been talking quite a
Yeah.
bit too. Because we both have done commentary on the races for years. He was doing it before I started doing it. I've known Mark for as long as I've been involved with Fountain, and actually helped with my first documentation on my race boats. He did all of our printing materials. We just had a question for Brittany. Brittany, there are actually five boats running, plus 2 military boats that are running, and here goes one of our outboard powered boats. So the 2 military boats have taken off. This next one should be Revelation Racing. Next, Jolly Ranchers. Then we've got Patriotic Duty, Copeland Marine, and then Lucas Oil.
Getting back to Mark Spencer real quick. Spencer, too, he was the editor of Powerboat Magazine for many years and did a lot of the boat testing with Bob Nordskog back in the old days. So he would sit shotgun with my grandfather, who would put the boats through all sorts of different crazy, tests and paces. And Mark got to hang on and then had to write all the stories, and sit there and lock himself in his office for days to write, 50 different stories on all the different boats and whatever, but terrific writer, great guy.
Yep.
So hello to Mark.
I think the last time I saw Mark, we were at the Fountain Factory and rolling out their new 42 and testing a new 43 NX. So glad to have him back involved with the Fountain team.
Yeah, excellent. So who's next up? Who's running next?
So I think the next boat coming up should be Jolly Roger, unless I skipped over and we didn't see Revelation leave. But that last boat we saw on screen was one of our twin outboard boats.
Your question? Classes?
Got a question?
Yeah, on the screen.
So we've got several different classes here, Pete. We've got B is an open canopy boat. A is a closed canopy boat from 35 to 45 feet. A is unlimited closed canopy, and that's what Ray Marine is running under, and that's 35 to 40 feet. Then there's B limited, which is an open canopy under 35 feet. And then C is an open canopy under 30 feet. So we actually have Revelation Racing is running as a B limited, and that's a 28-foot outboard with 300 XS Mercuries. Jolly Roger is running in C, and they have 300 Mercury. So I'm guessing those are 300 EFIs, where the 300 XSs are going to be Optimaxes. Let's see what motors are in the Copeland Marine boat that's running in A unlimited. Turbo Mecha engines with M8 drives, 2 of them 1,600 horsepower apiece.
Wow.
Okay, the next boat going right there. Can't tell from that. Okay, that's going to be one of the smaller outboard boats again. So that should be Jolly Roger.
Well, he'll have a fun ride out there today.
There you see that rolling swell that you get on the Pacific. I mean, it looks small, but there's an ongoing swell. Chris, they showed the Navy boats taking off. They were running side by side when they left, and they're probably going to run out of ways and turn back around and head back over to the port.
Yeah, they're not going to run all the way around the island. Now, the Lucas Oil should be starting any moment. We'll probably hear them from here. Hear the roar of the motors. Looks to me like it's going to be a beautiful day. I can already see a little bit of blue sky showing here, so it could be a good finish. And who knows, you know, sometimes you see the fog out here right off the coast, but once you get out past the fog, you get out to Catalina Island, it's like blue skies, and it's like a whole different world out
It's
there.
amazing how it happens that way. You get out there, it's like there's this donut of clear
Right.
that surrounds the island. It's like you pass through the clouds, and all of a sudden, whoa!
Yeah, and you get
here's
this beautiful island out
beautiful
there.
island out
Yeah.
there. And if you've never been out there, the water is just this super deep blue because the water is so deep.
Yeah,
So-
great diving out there, scuba diving, and they just had a paddleboard race that they hold every year, where these actual paddleboarders paddle all the way from Catalina back out to Redondo Beach area.
Oh my gosh! Now that's an exercise.
It's like
right
a
there.
32-mile paddle, you
And a
know,
paddleboard.
on a
Okay,
paddleboard.
I've seen some big things swimming in the water out there. We were out practicing one for the Catalina ski race, and we were bonsaiing back, and I go, that is the weirdest wake I've ever seen. I'm driving, the skiers behind me, and realize, oh, that's not a wake, that's a gray whale. You know, you hit that, and the penalty is going to be applied immediately.
Yeah, that channel is very deep. I actually ran the Catalina ski race back in 1985. I skied it, and I remember falling, not during the race, but during practice, right in the middle of the channel. And so I was waiting for the boat to come back around to pick me up, to start to pull me up again. And I'm just like floating in deep water there. And it was kind of creepy feeling
It is.
when you know you've got thousands of feet below you, and you're not knowing what is underneath you, coming up. It was really crazy. But
I always notice that it seems that about 2 weeks before the race, you start getting reports of shark sightings. They don't talk about it any other time of the year.
of course.
But all of a sudden they go, yeah, we've seen this many 16, 18-foot great white sharks out there because they're out there.
Yeah, you can't think about it when you're skiing or
No.
surfing or whatever, you're paddleboarding, whatever you're doing, boating. You can't think about the sharks. Just kind of, they're all part of the ocean and the environment, and we just kind of live with them, and hopefully they don't come up and say hi to us.
Exactly. Well, I didn't know you actually skied that race, so you're one
Yeah,
of the
I did.
crazy guys.
Yeah, I skied that race. I don't know, a fellow you probably know, a name, Bob Brown, from the old days. Yeah, Bob Brown pulled me with my brother, was my observer, and I skied it behind the old 27-foot Magnum. My grandfather was pulling Chuck Stearns at the time.
Wow. All right. So you probably also know Art Carlson.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, Art's the one that I credit or blame for me being in the marine industry. Depends on the
Oh,
day.
yeah.
And Bob, I met Bob Brown through him, and Bob Brown navigated the first time I pulled a guy to Catalina in one of Art's boats.
Wow.
So
Another great guy, Bob Brown, great guy. Again, Bob was one of the original editors of Powerboat as well. I think he was the second editor of Powerboat, and then Mark, I think, took over after that. and had a really good run over
There's
Powerboat.
been a great run of guys that were editors for Powerboat Magazine that we just all know through the industry now.
Yeah.
Eric Colby got a chance to race with Eric back in the day when he was racing A class. It's a small universe.
It sure is. Yeah, there's some people I haven't seen in a while. I haven't seen Eric Colby and any of these people after the Powerboat Magazine was sold and moved to back east. Kind of lost touch with some of those people when they moved, with the magazine. But all great people. We had a really great staff at Powerboat. Really great magazine.
Yep. I remember when we used to hold the race right there, right out in front of the Ventura race, right out in front of the Powerboat Magazine offices there.
Yeah, the Ventura Grand Prix. Yeah, that was a beautiful race. And talk about big water. That gets really heavy water out there. The further you go up the coast, the bigger the water gets. And I don't know if I probably told you last year that, I was in the boat when we went down from Canada to Mexico with my grandfather. So we set the record in 31 hours coming down in the 39-foot cigarette.
Wow.
So it was me, Norm Teague, and my grandfather. And that was my induction into offshore racing when I was 18 years old.
Wow.
That was quite a run. And back in those days, too, we didn't have the GPS. We were navigating based off our charts, compass heading, and we also had Loran. I don't know if you remember the Loran stations, but similar to a GPS type of thing, but you weren't pinpointed by within a 10 feet area. The Loran, I think it was like a half a mile, give you an estimate of where, we're within a half a mile of this or that, So you didn't really know exactly where you were, but I was kind of in charge as we would go down. We'd hit the Loran points and I would just mark it on the chart. So we had an idea, and my grandfather would have an idea where we're going and our heading and stuff. And a lot of the race coming down, we hugged the coast because we had a lot of fog, and it was really a crazy run for us coming down there. But I felt really comfortable being with Grandpa.
And the other thing on this coast is the water's dramatically colder also.
Just a little bit, yeah. Okay, we got a question here.
The record for the fastest time in this race, Kelsey, the fastest time was set by the Lucas Oil Boat last year at 1 hour and 10 seconds. Averaged 112 miles an hour and a top speed of about 143. And they should be taking off for their start here any minute. Any footage of the Ventura race? Interesting. I can't think of who was doing that at the time. The last time I was in Ventura, I raced in Ventura. That was the first time I met, I think I had just started working for Reggie. So that was my first race that I was working for Reggie and was racing. Gosh, I don't remember who was even doing the television at the time.
I don't remember either, but I know there's, really good photos that we have of that event, but I don't remember a video, but there's gotta be some video from that. And the last event was back in the early 2000s or something, right?
Yeah. Or late 90s.
Late
maybe.
90s. It might've been 98 or 99, somewhere around
I think
there.
97 is when it was the first time I ever made a newspaper coverage. I got a picture of my boat just completely aired out. Go,
Well,
nice.
Hey, you
That was
made
my
it.
first time. Yeah.
Just a quick side note, Nicole, I'm down to 5% on my phone.
Oh,
Okay.
well, I've got a charger here you can plug into if you need to. I'm down to 49% on the iPad, so we're gonna have to plug that bad boy in too. Now I do recall we were talking about sharks. I remember one time when we were racing in Ventura, one of the rescue pilots came by and just said, "I am so glad none of you guys went upside down, because if you had any idea how many sharks we see in the water flying over the top of you, you would just have no idea."
Gonna be plugging my phone in here. Sorry, everybody.
Yep. So you're going to hear a delay now, because I don't think you're going to hear through the headphones.
No, I'm not
anymore.
gonna
You're
hear
just
through
gonna
the
my voice. Okay. Which is why every so often, sometimes, folks, you hear a little delay or a little stutters, because we're both hearing between us being in the same room and hearing in the headphones. We're hearing a second delay.
Oh, my password? 9561.
Mike, I don't think you can switch yourself
Now everybody
from one
knows
to
my
the other.
password.
I think they handle that here inside. So they switched over to that thing.
Thank you.
I'll have her look at that and see. I don't think they can switch on their own screens. All right, this right here should be patriotic duty.
Again, this is the boat that's going to.
No,
Do
that
the
looks
rec-
like that's that twin canopy fountain.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's Copeland Marine. And there goes the rooster tail, so he's stepping it up.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of visibility you can see. So I don't think they're going to have any hold on the race at all. I think they're going all the way and all the way around and back. We'll see if Lucas Oil can beat the 1 hour mark. I bet that he's really trying to beat that extra 10, get that 10 seconds off there and get it under an hour, which would be really awesome.
Now, Alexi, you just asked about getting some of the information on the telemetry systems. Alexi, I'll see if I can get some of that information for you. I don't have that any on my screens. I see both of the guys and talk to them about what they're using, but I don't know the details on it. Here, let me just move this over and now I can get closer. Don't want my iPad to die. There we go. All right, Doug's saying it. He is saying that you've got to have 2 screens. All right, John and Linda Humphrey just asked. They didn't start staggered. What they did is, I guess you could say they started staggered. They're doing them one at a time because this is a timed race, not a deck-to-deck race. So they started one at a time against the clock. And the first boats that went were the 2 military boats. Then we started off with Revelation Racing, which is a 28-foot Levy craft. Then Jolly Roger, which is another 28-foot Levy craft, went next. Then Patriotic Duty, which is a 44-foot Outer Limits. Next one out was Copeland Marine, which we just saw, number 41. That is a 42-foot fountain. And the last boat we're going to see is going to be the Lucas Oil boat. They are the current defending record holders in this event at 1 hour and 10 seconds. And that is a 52-foot Mystic.
Another one of our sponsors here is Weaver Consulting Group.
And we're actually sitting in Weaver's offices right now.
Yes, we are. It's Jason Weaver, co-founded Weaver Consulting Group, based on a realization that advice is everywhere. Formerly of Ameriprise Financial Advisors, Jason devoted 20 years developing a thriving practice. The practice catered to the specific needs of pre-retired and retirees. And what clients need is to work with a consultant that offers unbiased and personalized advice from someone who truly cares about them and their family. Says he gained success early in his career, quickly ranking among the top 1% of over 11,000 advisors. He also earned a seat at the Chairman's Advisory Council. In 2016, he was one of the top 400 financial advisors in the U.S. by Financial Times. And let's see, from 2019 to present, Jason has been recognized on the Forbes Best in State Advisors list. Jason comes from a family of financial advisors and truly passionate about providing the right advice to each client.
All right, I got a correction. It wasn't on my notes here. I thought that 28-foot boat, Jolly Roger, that's actually a bat boat. That's a one design.
Oh, we got a bat boat.
Rendell power boat. So that's actually Jolly Roger is a bat boat.
Okay.
I didn't realize there were any bat boats that had outboards. I thought all the bat boats had the
That's what I thought.
stern
Yeah.
drives. So
Never
but
seen one with outboards.
it says 300 horsepower outboards. It says it's a 2021. I should reach out to Chris Rendell. He's the guy that owns the company. Ask him which is which. All right, now we see on your screen, there is the Lucas Oil boat. They are now underway. And I guarantee you they're going to have a stopwatch in there that's going to tell them we are going to beat the 1 hour mark no matter what it takes.
I'm sure they're
to miss it
looking
by
at
10
that.
seconds last year was, I talked to Nigel, he's just shaking his head.
couldn't
going,
believe that. Yeah.
I just needed 10 seconds more and I would have broken an hour.
Well, they will this time, I'm sure.
So they're running along the coast. Then they're going to take a left-hand turn that heads them out towards Ship Rock. Then they make the turn there and actually have a list. They gave us a lot of great information here. So we have all the course markings, where everything is. Actually have my complete racers package here. Now we're talking about what classes are with. Sorry about that. Whack the mic. Give you an idea of what the rules are for the classes here. A Unlimited is in a V-hull is up to 30 feet. Catamaran is up to 30 feet. 30 to 35, 30 to 35, 45 feet and over. And a canopy is required. Kind of interesting that they have all the different sizes that are allowed in Unlimited A. A limited B limited is less than 100 miles an hour. They have a center console class, but they have to run less than 90 miles an hour. So they can't, well, they're not going to let the super fast ones out here. We all kind of shake our head. The faster those things get going, they're just, it's not like a sport boat that you have 4 people in. These center consoles, you can put 15, 20 people in.
Right.
So, a little bit of alcohol gets involved. People start going, let me show you how fast my boat is. What's the 2 worst things you want to hear is here, hold my beer is one of them, or right when they say, watch this. Those are the 2 things that you just never want to hear the driver of a boat say.
Well, speaking of beer, we have a beer sponsor. It looks like RIP. Is that how you say it? RIP? RIP?
Yes.
RIP Beer Company. Let's see. RIP Beer Company is located in Sunset Beach, a historic sub-district of Huntington Beach, California, directly on the PCH, across the street from the beach and Bolsa Chica wetlands. RIP Beer Company started as a home brewing operation founded by 2 brothers-in-law in 2014 on a 20-gallon brew sculpture from more beer. RIP Beer Company became one of Southern California's first nano breweries to hit the rapidly growing craft beer scene, producing some of the best small batch handcrafted ales in Orange County. RIP Beer was built organically from the ground up, the same way we craft our beers. So thank you to RIP Beer for being one of our sponsors.
We're looking at Nigel Hook in the Lucas Oil boat, making their way out. Helicopter in tow. When you're doing these kind of runs, you pick your water as to where you can run the fastest. And where the water's nice, that's where you're going to step it up and really try to make up time so that if you do hit some of that rough water, you slow down, you're not going to wipe your average out. Looks to me like the Lucas Oil boat is cruising right now, but I can tell you it's a 52-foot boat, so speed is completely deceptive as to how fast they're actually going. And you can see what those rollers look like, that every time that rooster tail changes consistency, that boat's coming out of the water over a swell.
Now, we don't have the telemetry yet on that boat, right? On Lucas
Nope.
Oil yet? And when we get the telemetry up, that is really cool to watch because you could actually see the speeds going up and down and really kind of see the RPMs of the engines and really gives you a good idea of what's going on inside of the boat.
I'm looking at the officials, and there's, another list of guys that haven't, that have been around for a long time. Fred Howenstein is the chief scrutineer. Fred was one of the top guys, the first guys I got to meet and spend some time with at Mercury Racing back in the day. And Gene Stevens, he's been around for a long time. He's the timekeeper. Janet Wilson is the event director, and the event administrator is Kelly Gunn. The racing committee for the Ocean Cup, Azam Rangunwala, he's the chairman and CEO of Powerboat P1. Worked with Azam for years, and his dad, just a great bunch of people. Roger Bell and Nigel Hook are the racing committee for the Ocean Cup Series, which is just expanding, doing a number of these speed record runs in different places, setting them up. I wonder if they've got, Janet will probably know, that there's got to be something you guys are going to try to do something like Key West to Cancun, those kind of runs again. Is that?
Right now, we're looking at Fort Myers Beach to Key West.
That'll be a fun run.
The Key West Express.
Key West Express. There you go.
Sounds like a fun run.
Yeah, just spend a little bit more. We're all getting ready to go to Key West in a few weeks. So the Key West World Championships, go down there for the poker run also. So
Now, how did Key West fare during the hurricane? Did they get?
haven't heard from anybody down in Key West, but all the Southern Keys had to have gotten windblown. And of course, Key West, all the Keys, I mean, you were at sea level.
Yeah.
So waves start rolling across the top of that. It just wipes everything out. Well, we raced down there on the tail of a hurricane. We actually had to evacuate, and we had to come back. We got a couple days races in, and we all evacuated on Friday and went back down for the final races. Gosh, that was Lee Mills, I think, was the producer back then. That was a crazy time. All right, Lucas Oil's now the helicopters caught up with them alongside, so they're obviously running somewhere around 100 because that's about the speeds that helicopter flies. Coming up on the oil rigs.
Yeah, he'll start picking up the speed. So we have another sponsor here. We got a moment here. Cheval Winery in Eden Valley. They're at chevalwinery.com, providing us with 4 cases of cash sparkling wine for the podium, which is really great. So we appreciate that from them. We also have Swingwire Media, swingwiremedia.com. They're a co-sponsor of the live stream here. And we got, let's see, intermittent co-host of today's stream is Nicole. We call her Nico. And let's see, worked with Janet on the oceancup.com, director since 2017, documenting silver hook powerboats Guinness World's Record. You can find all that at, looks like at Silver Hook Powerboats. Oh boy, there's a lot of little .coms here. But here's a little something about them. It says, our journey began with the origin of our name, Cheval, which translates into horse in French. The owners, Donna and Randy Kaufman, were originally looking for a property for their champion show horses and stumbled upon this breathtaking location. They fell in love with the estate. It just happened to come with a winery. Now that is cool. You buy a house and you get a whole winery to go with it.
There you go. There we go. I was actually just
we got the
zoomed in
telemetry.
right here, so I can
Telemetry
see the
now?
speed right now. Lucas Oil's running 83.5 miles an hour. Jolly Rancher ahead of them is running 62. Oop, my whole screen just changed.
So they're already out of cell phone, 4G, and then when they get closer to the island, they'll pick back up and we'll see what they're doing.
Excellent. So right now, Lucas is running 84 miles an hour. Patriotic Duty's running 78 miles an hour. So it's clearly a little bit rougher than it appears because both of those boats capable of going significantly faster than that. But at the pace they're going right now, unless they get some smooth water and really step it up, you know, the average speed for the record last year was 112 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Which means you can't run much less than 112 for long.
Right.
Although if you look at Nigel's top speed last year, it was 143.
Yeah.
Now that doesn't say for how long you ran 143. That's, you know, 143 sustained is hauling butt.
Yeah.
You know, it's one thing to blast it up
for
there
sure.
for a couple of minutes. It's another thing altogether to blast it up there for 15 or 20 minutes. Although it is remarkable when you do have a lot of seat time at those kinds of speeds, that it does start to feel natural. It's hard to imagine. I mean, 100 miles an hour in a boat is moving, but we would get to the point where literally, I think one of the funnest things when I was racing with Todd Welling and our Super V, we were getting ready to go for the world speed record. We were at the Fountain Factory. We were sitting in a front to back boat, so he was sitting in front of me. I was right behind him, so I couldn't really see much, but he couldn't see the GPS, or I couldn't see the GPS. He could, and I'm just trimming the thing, getting it to go as fast as it'll go. And he's up front going, all right, almost there. And actually, you know, he said, hit it, you know, go up one more. And I said, all right, you realize we're at the line right now where the boat starts getting twitchy.
Yeah.
Hit it one more time and you can feel the boat pop up on the pad instead of the V. And it just accelerated.
Just took off.
There. And he goes, almost there. And I go,
There it
what?
is.
Because we just passed 140. And the speed
Nice.
record at the time was 138. So I said, oh, we got this covered. And we were leaving the factory that day. And Reggie comes up at the gate and stops us and goes, how fast are you going? So they can't tell you, Reggie, because you're going to go and tell David Woods. He goes, come on. Tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock in the morning, the whole world's going to know how fast you went. He goes, just over 140. He went, okay, you boys got it.
That's incredible.
Carry on.
That's incredible.
Cannot hear anything. Sorry, over.
Yeah, one of the race teams talking back. Yeah, there's a lot of these fast boats, and it's also fun because Nigel and I were the deck-to-deck guys that were racing at that same weekend's race at Fountain, and I killed a propeller on the back, and we were both limping around the race course, and he beat me at the factory race by, because of the time. And I was like, all right, I set the world speed record, so at least I was good with Reggie at that point. But then to lose to the Scarab at the Fountain Factory is like,
Wow.
of all
Not
things.
good. Yeah, not good.
T3Telemetry.com, and you can see Nigel's gauges live.
Okay. Excellent.
This is for Alexi Sahajian. Alexi, you can go to T31 or T3 Telemetry. So is that plus? It's plus 3 LEMETRY.com, and you can actually see
you can follow the Lucas boat.
3 telemetry.
It's like telemetry with a 3. T.
So it's a T here, not a
Three.
plus.
Oh, okay, gotcha. All right, T3 Lemetry.com, and you can actually see everything that's happening on the Lucas oil boat. You can see the engine gauges, everything that's happened there. It's T3Lemetry.com.
You'll be able
That's
to watch
kind of
what
fun
we're
to be able to
doing.
watch all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you're going to see everything that Herbie's seeing down at the end of the table. Except he's got a headset on and he's talking to the team. You know, the ability, they learned it in cars a long time ago, when you can take all that data and you can see what the boat is doing under certain loads and what the engines are doing. It allows the tuners, and Herbie's an engine guy. So he can go back and they can tune the motors to get the best performance. And offshore boat racing is all about survival. So it's about getting the motors to live the longest.
Looks like Lucas Oil, we're up at, I saw him hit 90 just a moment ago, but he's kind of somewhere around the high 80s, low 90s at this point, but they're still heading out toward Catalina.
Well, Ray Marine just came back within cell range. So they're at 67 miles an hour, which again is really surprising. I'm surprised that the speeds are down this year when it looks, I mean, it just didn't look that rough. But you know what? We're not the ones in the cockpit right now. And the whole idea is, you know, they always used to say, in order to finish first you got to finish.
Exactly.
So they're heading straight to Shiprock. Then they're going to make a right-hand turn and go around the island, come down the south side.
Now, being in a boat that's a canopy boat is a little different than the old school where you're just sitting out there and you got the wind blowing in your face and all that. The canopy boat, you're actually strapped in, seatbelted in. It's a whole different ride compared to the old days where you'd kind of stand up in the boat and kind of.
Well, and your legs take the
your
shock.
legs
as
take the
opposed
shock.
to, you know, most of the canopy boats now, I know for certain the Fountain has them because, you know, that I think that boat's the old Pier 57 boat. They were on suspensions. And that makes a huge difference.
Makes a big difference.
My first Super V I ran was the one we ran front to back, set the world speed record in. That boat didn't have suspension seats. So, I mean, you sit in that boat. Now, of course, we were right on the keel instead of sitting side by side. So it's a little smoother, but it's still just, you had to have the seat reclined just a little bit so that it didn't pound your spine.
Yeah.
And as soon as we went to suspension seats, it's like, oh, this is nice.
It just takes the edge off.
Takes the edge off. And there's something cool about being strapped in. It gives you a sense of, a nice sense of security. But some people just never get past the visibility. Your visibility changes when you're in a canopy boat.
Yeah,
so,
completely.
Some people just never get around it. Even when we take demo rides or, you know, used to take VIP rides or those kind of rides, you have to tell a guy, okay, this is going to be different. Your visibility is going to be different. The sensation of speed is totally different.
Yeah.
And sensation of speed in a boat is totally different anyway. You know, 70 miles an hour gets people's attention in a boat.
Right.
This will go in now.
So,
that is for sure.
So Ray Marine's up to 73 miles an hour now. So it's looks like it's sped up just a little bit. Lucas Oil is running 85. Patriotic Duty's running 82. Those guys are all running pretty close.
Yeah, Patriotic Duties had got a good run going here. Well, Steve and his
Patriotic
crew
Duty is running in the B class.
Yeah, Steve and
Open
his
canopy.
crew, they want to make sure that they get their boat all dialed in for their big record run in it's a couple weeks from now, I believe, all right? The record attempt.
That's been postponed.
Oh, it's been postponed. Okay.
Yes.
All right, so Lucas Oil just left cell range. So they're halfway across the channel. Yep, there they're back.
Comment from Alex.
Love the live stream data we get.
Now, to run in a canopy boat, you have to do the special test before, like a dunk
Dunker
test
test.
and things like that, right?
Yeah,
Because
Dunker, you have to be scuba certified. They put us in a dunk test where they
Mhm.
strap you into a simulated canopy in a pool and they invert it. And you've got to be able to get out. You don't have your oxygen on at the time, so you've got to be able to clear a regulator, get yourself unstrapped, and get yourself out of the boat. You know, it's spooky. I've seen people completely just lose it in there. The secret to all that stuff is you just got to relax.
just relax.
Just relax. And when we're on a closed race course, it's a level of comfort because Mark Austin's one of the guys that's listening there. He was one of our safety director. He worked when I was with P1. He has his own team now that does rescue everywhere. But there's something just awesome about knowing you've got a rescue crew that is probably 30 seconds away from you anywhere on a race course while you're on the closed course. So the best thing you can do is, while you're upside down, the boat flips upside down, even before it fills with water, assuming it doesn't instantly, you get your regulator in, you just sit there and just relax, catch your breath, unstrap yourself. And you got to remember that if you're upside down and you unstrap yourself, you fall straight to the ceiling. So you've got to support yourself, pop it, and just sit there and wait. Because by the time you're there, the divers are actually going to be there to get you out. It's when you panic, and that's when you somehow get stuck in hardware, or if the boat has been damaged, you can get caught up on stuff. So first thing is relax, get your regulator in, and just wait until it's clear.
And that's if you survive the
impact. Well, that's the nice thing
too,
about the canopy systems and the seats, being strapped in. You stay with the boat as opposed to an open cockpit boat. Theoretically, you're supposed to get pitched out of it.
Right.
And I went upside down at 90 miles an hour in an open cockpit boat. There's nothing fun about it. I got trapped in the boat. I got caught in centrifugal force when it went upside down. I was in the boat when it landed upside down, rolled over the top of me. I didn't even realize I hurt myself. Broke my shoulder. I did what they tell us to do, just kind of lean back and relax. As soon as I leaned back, they just dumped everybody out of the helicopter because they thought I passed out. I'd already tapped my head and said I'm good, but I only did it with one arm because I couldn't move the other arm. Didn't realize it. Shock's an amazing thing.
Back in the 80s, my grandfather had the Channel 7 local news crew out, which was ABC out here, with Ted Dawson, who was the sports announcer, and they were doing a little video shoot of the boat running and whatnot, and the boat actually came up and chimed it and broadsided. My grandfather flew out of the boat live on TV on Channel 7. He was okay, but they got the whole thing where he flew away from the boat. And we were just talking a moment ago, if you have a canopy boat, you're strapped in. It's a whole different ball game. Back in the old days, and with some of the other boats that we have now, that you'll just fly away from the boat, you end up in the water, and it's kind of a crazy thing.
On a race course, the thing that when we went upside down and I got pitched out of the boat, the guy got a phenomenal series of the entire spin, falling around. So the boat did a complete barrel roll and landed right side up. All I thought about when I got dumped out of the boat and came up with my vest was, we were number 2 going into the turn with 13 boats behind us, and there's only one way around that turn. And all I could think of is your biggest fear is coming up into an oncoming boat.
Yeah.
So that's our biggest fear on those. Of course, you can get hurt getting pitched out of the boat, but getting run over by another boat's a bad deal. I had a television thing like that also, though. We were setting up for the championships in North Carolina, and I was did the TV show for the whole morning, and got to take the morning person out for a ride. And I said, "No, you guys cleared this with the marina, right? I'm good to do this." I go, "Oh yeah, no, we're all set." Hopped in a canopy boat, strapped her in, and we went 100 miles an hour through this marina. Idled our way back, and that was the end of the show. I just kind of chuckled and go, "Well, if that wasn't okay, my name was on the screen in the order to find me." Well, sure as hell, not 2 weeks later, I get a call from FWC, Fish and Wildlife, going, "All right, we have a little bit of a problem. We can handle this 2 ways. You were driving the boat that went through there, right?" And I go, "Yeah." He goes, "All right, well, we've got to give you a ticket for that because somebody came in and complained that you woke them up, and they made our captain watch the video. So there's no way we can say he didn't." Because that's the bad news. The good news is it's $5. Said, so
that is good news.
We can either bring it to the factory or we can mail it to you. I said, "You know what? Whatever you guys want to do." And I ran into those guys at lunch one day, and we were just laughing about it. But it's like, I understand that. Now, I didn't get pitched out of the boat, but not the kind of notoriety I wanted necessarily at the time.
Yeah, that's for sure.
All right, we're looking at our speeds. Nigel stepped it up a little bit. He's at 91 miles an hour right now. Jolly Roger's down to 35. So that tells me that it is bumpier on the backside.
Are they on the backside already?
Well, I guess they're going around. Now they're going around towards the isthmus side, I guess, and they're heading to the north side of the island, getting ready to make the turn. So Lucas Oil hasn't actually caught up to everybody yet. Now, once it gets to the rough water where those other guys slow down, Lucas with that length is going to be able to just march his way on. Revelation has really slowed down also. They're running just 30 miles an hour right now, which leads me that leads me to believe that they may have an engine problem. Something's happened, or it's just super nasty.
The Jolly Roger, though, is about the same speed as well.
Patriotic Duty's running 45 miles an hour, 50 miles an hour. So they're
And that's a big
just
boat
accelerating
too.
right now. Lucas Oil's up to 96.
Okay, he's starting to
I can
move
tell you,
now.
unless they really step up the speed, though, I mean, they're a third of the way, almost a third of the way through. They've gotten past Ray Marine. Now they're running 100.
He just hit the 100 mark. 101, 102.
All right. He's listening to us talking, going, all right, Martin's going to bust my chops if I don't step this up.
Yeah.
But he's now closing
down
in on Jolly Roger. But they got to be looking at their speed, and they know that their average was 112 last year, and they haven't even hit 112 once yet, and they're a third of the way through the event.
Yeah, it must be a little bumpy.
So if they're going to bust an hour,
they got to really step it up.
Well, what I remember from last year, Martin, is we lost them around the tracking around the back of the island. And it wasn't until they hit Avalon when they popped back up, and it was 140 at that point.
right? And when they went around the north end of the island, they hadn't really passed anybody yet. And when they came around the back end of the island, they were the first boat there.
Yeah, that
so
was
they got
pretty
everybody on
exciting.
the back.
Yeah, we
But
were
they-
cheering.
52-foot boat length matters
It does.
for sure. I love the telemetry that, because it's gotten better, and it could be the cell service has gotten better, but the idea that we've had contact with them the whole way.
It's awesome. I think the cell coverage has gotten better, probably because of the Catalina, the express ferries going back and forth. People are
So
trying
they
to
maybe
work.
added another tower out there.
It's possible. Yeah.
Now, Mark Austin just popped on and said that the military boats are back in the airbox.
Oh, we just coming back in.
Yep.
Darn.
He said they're back in the airbox.
Okay, but they
And
did a
they're saying the
stealth
helicopter
course.
feed's going to come back once the
Stealth
boats get back
course, there you
around,
go.
coming back to Huntington Beach.
Yeah, it must be a little lumpy out there for the speeds we're looking at here.
There's really not any wind. I mean, the flags are totally slack, but it also could be different out there. So it depends on if the waves are stacking up, going that way. I mean, we always prefer running fast into it as opposed to going with it. Following seas are just a little bit more gnarly to deal with.
Yeah, they're back down to 80 in their 80s now.
But Ray Marine's only running 35 miles an hour. I mean, at 35 miles an hour, that boat's not even fun. I mean, you're just kind of getting pounded.
That's Revelation there.
A Revelation, I mean.
Yeah. Ray Marine 76 there. They're green.
Oh, there
They're
we go.
doing
Oh,
pretty
you're right.
good.
I'm
Ray
sorry.
Marine
Yeah,
is-
Revelation is one of the small boats. So all right, so that makes sense.
Yeah,
All right,
Ray
Ray Marine's
Marine-
running 77. All right, so they're moving.
Yeah, they're moving now. Yeah, they just hit 80. And 80 miles an hour in an offshore boat is
Moving.
moving.
Yeah, we were talking earlier, that was right around the world speed
Almost the
record.
world speed record. Yeah, exactly. And when you're hitting these bumps out there too, and you're flying and taking all the G forces and everything, it's quite a run out there.
And this is open ocean racing. So this isn't racing in the bay. And they are racing in the Pacific and getting ready to go on the backside of Catalina Island.
Well, maybe we'll see more of these type of runs, more of the going out to sea runs again because of all this type of technology we have now.
Yep.
Makes it more
Well,
exciting for
that Palm Beach to Nassau run was one of those. And then we used to run to Bimini from Miami. So, and that's right out of our inlet. My office is down at Hallover. So all those people that watch those videos of people failing going out of the Hallover Inlet, that's right where my office is down there with all the folks down at Extreme Marine and the Hallover Marine Center. I love it when I'm taking people out for sea trials on the boats and they go, is that Hallover Inlet? Can we go out there? No. No. When you buy the boat, you can go out there.
there you go.
But
Yeah, I see that on videos on YouTube all the time with that people coming in and out of that inlet.
yeah, that's
And it's just
for
crazy.
real.
Yeah, that's just crazy. It's a lot of funny videos and just, sponsors again, we have Fletcher Jones Motor Cars, Weaver Consulting Group, Rip Beer Company, Cheval Winery in Eden Valley, and Swingwire Media, as well as Lucas Oil. We have a social media influencer that is now, are they going to get a ride with Nigel? So we have a social media influencer. Her name is Demi Bagby. Is that how you'd say it? Yeah, she's going to take a spin with Nigel after the race, which she's going to just go crazy when she gets in that boat.
Oh, yeah.
And let's see, she's her name's Demi. Let's see, Demi is an American CrossFit athlete, bodybuilder, adrenaline junkie, and fitness influencer, all rolled into one. She was immediately hooked when this opportunity arose, and we think this could be a great chance to secure large-scale social coverage for our event here. And she's got over 17 million combined followers across her Instagram, TikTok, YouTube accounts. Now that ain't easy to do.
That's impressive.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
impressive.
you know, it's to get that many followers and whatnot. So you got to be somebody, and she must have something to offer that people are really interested in seeing.
I know what they'll do. We do the same thing when we take VIPs out in the canopy boats in particular. When we have them out, before we do it, we give them a complete safety briefing. I mean, we have to.
Yeah.
It's all right. Here's where the air is. If things go, it's almost like when I say eject, you pull the bug,
Right.
So, but we go through the whole thing and we just explain, all right, if this boat goes upside down, and this is all, they're all excited and jazzed up about, I get to go for a ride. And then all of a sudden it clicks into, what do you mean if something goes wrong?
Yeah.
You're strapping them in, and it's
right. It's a little different.
Half of the fun for us as the pilots is kind of terrifying them just a little bit.
Yeah.
And then take them out for the ride and let them see what it's like. And the last time I got to do that was at the Detroit Gold Cup, on that historic cup for the limited hydroplanes. And we got to take out a couple of VIPs, and it was just a gas, and they just have so much fun. She is going to love that ride.
She's going to love it. Yeah. She's
going
got
to get a chance to say that she's been, one of the fastest people on the water, because at the end of the day, a lot of people talk about I've been fast. I've been 100 miles an hour in a boat. I chuckle that my wife has actually been faster in a boat than I have.
Oh yeah.
And she went out, in fact, she went out with Bob. She's been out with Bob in a boat, and went out with was it Bob? Bob is who you went out with, right? Yeah, she went out with Bob Teague. So, Bob, if you're listening, you still have taken my wife faster in a boat than I have.
It's funny you say that.
I know it hurts to say it, actually,
because Bob took me in my fastest run ever, but this was years ago at a Powerboat Magazine performance trials. And it was actually a lake boat that we ran in, little HTM, single engine HTM. And we were up at 150 or something. And I had to hold the radar gun, at 150 miles an hour. And it wasn't easy to do, but that's the fastest I've ever actually been in a performance boat.
Well, I can say that I know that I've been faster in a V-bottom than Bob has. So Bob, there you go. At least I've still been faster in a V-bottom, but catamarans are a whole different animal for sure. So I got to go out and run into what they called the cat killer at the time testing, and that was 165. So that was moving in a V-bottom, but that didn't count. It only counts when they got the clocks out there timing you.
Now, if you want to find our social influencer here, Demi, you could find her at youtube.com/C as in Charlie /Demi, DEMI, Bagby, BAGBY. She also has a Twitter account. So you just type into Twitter /Demi Bagby. She has a TikTok, which would be at Demi Bagby, and an Instagram account at Demi Bagby as well. So it'll be interesting to hear after she gets her run what she says about it.
Absolutely.
So you might want to, for somebody who's never been in this type of craft, to get in there, and especially she's not getting in a small, slower boat. She's getting in the top boat here, the fastest boat. And that's a whole nother ball game. So she's going to have some interesting comments later.
Doug is asking, it looks like the trackers have stopped working. Doug, the trackers are actually feeding us the data back at the center here based on cell service. So it goes through a cell system, and as soon as they leave good cell coverage, they drop off and then they come back on. And they're starting to pop back on now as the boats get closer to a cell antenna. Cell service is definitely improved out here, like Janet was saying, through the Catalina having so much traffic going out there with the Catalina Express that they keep cell services functioning.
Now, if anybody's around at Huntington Beach, the dry pits where the boats are going to come in is at 2901 at Ettinger in Huntington Beach, if you want to see the boats come in. And then they'll be on display Saturday, tomorrow, from 10:30 a.m. that what I'm looking at? Oh no, boats on display, 5 a.m.
They move in on 5 a.m. and they'll be all
All
there
day?
all day Saturday.
Okay.
We'll be doing our podium awards at 1 o'clock down by Pacific Coast in Maine next to the Lucas Oil Boat. And Demi will be there, hopefully handing out the trophy. And they stay there overnight and they'll be all day on Sunday. So there's plenty of opportunity to come down and see all these boats. The Navy boat will be on display as well as a Coast Guard boat.
I wonder if they'll let you get up close to the Navy boat. You know?
See how
How up close will they let
It's
you?
like the first air show you went to when they had one of the stealth fighters there. It's like, yeah, you can only get so close.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
If you've never seen these boats up close, you got to come down. Especially that Lucas Oil boat is just unbelievable.
It's
looking.
impressive.
And we're super excited about the fountain and the turbines. This is going to be very interesting to see how they handled the rougher water around the backside of the island.
Yeah, that's the Ray Marine boat, and it. I hadn't even noticed that those were turbines until I saw the exhaust on the back of them.
Those are badass,
Yeah.
aren't they?
Yeah, it's a beast. The turbine boats are a whole other thing to drive. They are funky. I mean, it's like you talk about turbo lag on a turbocharged boat that they don't make power until the turbos fill up. Turbine boats are even worse. You know, but once they start making torque, or they make horsepower, they don't make torque very well. And a lot of times they have 2-speed transmissions for that very reason. So you have to get it in one gear and then you have to shift it to get it to once
Really
it gets
go.
up into the power band.
Yeah.
The last one of those I drove, you could literally roast marshmallows if you were behind it. So it's like, it's hot on everything.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, being in the industry, you get to see a lot of neat stuff. Like I said, my office is down at the Holliver Marine Center, and our company's Sunset Boat Sales, so we get a chance to do all the sales out of Holliver Marine Center with the guys at Extreme Marine, and we specialize in high performance stuff. So still get my hand in this even when I'm not doing commentary or not being at the races. So it's a lot of fun with our company, and our site's got a lot of neat stuff available also at sunsetboatsales.com. So they put the link up there so you can go to T3Telemetry T3Telemetry.com, and you can see all of the Lucas Boat telemetry information live.
Except for right now, it looks like there must be on the backside.
Yep,
That's
the only
where
one
we're
we see
getting
right
nothing.
now is Revelation. They stepped up. They were running,
In the 30s.
35s.
Yeah.
Now they're up 62, 63 miles an hour.
Again, that is fast for in the ocean.
Well, I noticed it said, she just got a note that the Jolly Roger boat is a bat boat. And that's actually Nigel's boat. And I looked down here originally and I didn't see the columns right. And I said, all right, well, it says Nigel Hook's the driver of record. He can't drive two boats at the same time.
You can't, huh?
But they've got him listed as the driver of record. That boat was rigged by WOT, Wide Open Throttle Marine. So that boat so that is an outboard powered boat?
Yes, it's the first outboard bat boat. It's got 300s on the back of it.
Okay.
And it's the first time out, he had it at 93. So
Wow.
It's a fast little boat.
Yep. Well, those were originally designed by Aki Mannerfelt, and then Chris Rendell's the guy that owns all the rights to that now. And that was back when, Eddie Morantz was involved with those boats over on this coast. So
Yeah.
Eddie's the guy that, he died tragically. But before then, he's a guy that really kind of brought how steps work. So that when I went to the driving and teaching driving stuff, when you explain to somebody how they work, it totally changes how you drive the boat.
Yeah.
And when you understand that, you get away from this image that, oh no, step bottom boats are, they do this, they're dangerous. No. If you over trim it or you under trim it going into turns, yeah. But see where the step bottom boat is, they're fastest at neutral trim and you don't have to change anything. So I thought he was incredibly helpful in learning that and taking that understanding to Fountain, and where they kind of perfected the steps in terms of operation. So, Aki was one of those guys that created the entire bat boat design, and they had several different sizes of them.
Yes, they have a
So-
24 and a 28. And I just want to do a call out to Tim Pattison, who's in that boat racing it. He's normally my right hand on the team, and he's stepped up and he's racing the boat for Nigel.
Hey, look, anybody that wants to go out and race a 28-foot boat in the Pacific Ocean all the way out there, go for it.
Go for it, especially in the bat
You
boats.
let me know how the ride was when you get back, because I kind of got spoiled. It's like, I'm not doing that anything less than a 40-foot boat anymore.
I've seen some wild photos of the bat boats, where they're just completely on their side. Flying. I mean,
we
they're
used to
just
call them lawn
amazing.
darts. I mean, they
Lawn darts.
they go over the top and they just go right through the waves. I mean, Chris had a series of them that you could lease the boats, and it was cool. They had a bunch of them at a time, and the guys that were running the big boats all like to go and let's go. It was like racing go-karts. We'd all want to go and race the bat boats on a course because they're all just crazy fun. They were all stern drive boats. So he'd show up at a race with a stack of 4 of them on a trailer. So it was fun.
That was awesome.
Update on 599 on the comment. 599 is killing it.
Sorry, say that again, Nico?
It's on the comment on the screen. It says just passing Michael Drury. 599 is killing it.
599 is killing it, and that's another outboard boat. It's got Michael Drury on, and he normally is racing in the Class 5 boat in the Powerboat P1 APBA series.
Right.
And he loves this offshore, so he wants to do more of them.
Hey, Nico, just so you know, this is not charging through
It's
that.
not. Why don't we switch it?
Yep.
Here, we'll give you this now. This one should charge.
So you got the message from Rena and how?
Kelly it's on the screen.
Now it's charging.
Oh, they're back up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ray Marine's up. We don't have anybody
Yeah,
else.
Ray Marine's still at getting close to 60 miles an hour.
Now, the upside is these guys that are, aside from Nigel that has a record to beat, these other classes don't have a record established yet. So,
Contraire.
which ones do? Tell us.
Okay, so Chris Rendell and Leanne.
Chris was here last year, so he's got a record to
but
beat.
2 years ago, he and Leanne in an enclosed canopy bat boat, a 24-foot bat boat, set that record. And then last year, Bruce Dudley and Finley Giuseppe, hey Finley, they set the record in the open 28.
That was in an hour and 36.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yep, hour and 36 at 70
Average
miles
70
an hour.
mile an hour. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Because there were 3 boats that set records last year, right? So
Right.
there was Nigel, the one bat boat, and the center console, because that was the
That's
first
right.
time the center consoles ran. There's no center consoles running today.
So yes, so then the record that is up for grabs is the under 30 open cockpit. And there's 2 competitors. There's the Nigel's 28 bat boat with Tim Pattison and Kyle on it. And then there's the Levy Craft, the outboard.
Although so there's 2 records there, B and C class.
Yeah, Jolly Roger's a B.
Oh, so that is a B. All right,
Yes,
so
sir.
right.
Sorry.
Got it. All right, that's why I had to write bat boat in there too. didn't I?
Yeah.
All right, so those guys are both fighting for a record then.
That's right.
But you said the record, the average speed was what, 70?
70.32.
So they need to pick it up a little bit too if they're going to get to that record.
Sorry about that.
Again, it must be a little lumpy out there because the speeds are definitely down. We're still waiting for Nigel's boat to come around the back side so we can get the telemetry again.
Well, while we're losing telemetry, now might be a good time to go to a commercial break so we can grab something to drink here real quick. Does that work for you, Nico?
Yeah, 1 second. Let me do that for you. We're gonna show you want to tell them this is the Rum Run last year? We'll show them a commercial Rum Run and then the Pacific Airshow.
Okay.
Great.
All right, you're listening to live coverage of the 2022 Ocean Cup live from Huntington Beach, California, and the Pacific Airshow. This is an APBA UIM world record-setting event. We'll be back in a few minutes.
First off, forget everything you've ever known about air shows. We're talking 40,000 pounds of thrust racing across your chest at California's most iconic beach destination.
Huntington Beach, California, on one of the best.
And your best friends are all there because they want to be. Because it's not just an air show, it's an experience. We're talking the world's best performers and best teams pushing the edge of what's possible. Things that make you turn your head and scratch it at the same time. VIP meet and greets, social parties, epic hospitality, and a high-octane boat race around Catalina Island. Everything under the sun, and we're just getting started. It's not your hot dog, hamburger, funnel cake, county fair, Miss Maple Pie, make your gut hurt till next week greasy cuisine. The best chefs are here stirring the pots for you again. It's the kind of air show you can have your Top Gun volleyball moment with your beers and best friends and take it all in. And you don't have to like airplanes to know it's bitchin', but don't take my word for it. Ask the million fans yourself. And just when you thought it couldn't get any better, Afterburner is just warming up. We're talking a crowd singing every lyric to your favorite song by your favorite artist right alongside you. Feeling the beach vibes all night long. And when it's all said and done, all you can think about doing is doing it again. Pacific Airshow, redefining the airshow experience. First off, forget everything you've ever known about air shows. We're talking 40,000 pounds of thrust racing across your chest at California's most iconic beach destination.
Huntington Beach, California, on one of the best.
And your best friends are all there because they want to be. Because it's not just an air show, it's an experience. We're talking the world's best performers and best teams pushing the edge of what's possible. Things that make you turn your head and scratch it at the same time. VIP meet and greets, social parties, epic hospitality, and a high-octane boat race around Catalina Island. Everything under the sun, and we're just getting started. It's not your hot dog, hamburger, funnel cake, county fair, Miss Maple Pie, make your gut hurt till next week greasy cuisine. The best chefs are here stirring the pots for you again. It's the kind of air show you can have your Top Gun volleyball.
Soil.
Still on.
We were going to, I turned it off.
Oh, okay.
I didn't want
My mic is off on the iPad,
Okay,
and I've got the volume. It's all the way down.
okay.
But that's where I'm getting some of that. I can hear it a little bit.
Where's Lucas Oil?
Not bothering
I
me.
don't, they've frozen, so they're not,
So we don't
there's
see
no
anything.
speed.
Yeah.
So that means
we
that
don't
was
even
their
see
last
them.
known position.
Was right here?
Yeah.
Okay.
You guys are
So
live.
when these are
on.
dots, they're just frozen and that's the last known position.
Got it.
Question.
All right, we are back. Welcome back to the 2022 Ocean Cup, live from Huntington Beach, California, and the Pacific Airshow as well. This is an APBA UIM world record-setting powerboat race.
Third annual.
Chris commented. from last
I see that.
Yeah.
Hey, Chris Rendell, we were just talking about you off the air. Hope you're doing well, buddy. I am your host, Martin Sanborn, with my co-host here, Eric Nordskog. And we're sitting here looking at we have a full telemetry screen here that we're looking at. And the only boat that we've got a reading on right now is Patriotic Duty. Everybody else is locked at their last known position while they still had a cell signal. And then when they pop back, it will pop back on. So you can see on your screen there as well. You can see where they were, their last known positions. So it looks like patriotic duty's on the front side of the island now, getting ready to come back. All right, here we go. Now
Here we
Nigel's
go.
running 142.
All
So
right.
now he's stepped
stepping
up
up.
his game.
Yeah. Now he's smoking now.
So he is now coming up on patriotic duty, it looks like.
Yeah, he looks like he's right off Avalon, it shows. At 140.8, 141, 142.
So they must be getting some protection on that side of the island.
Yeah.
From wind and wave. So they're moving. But he's going to have to
Really
he's going
stepping
to have
up.
to hold that speed to make up, because I know the number he's shooting for is to be less than an hour, even if it's 59 minutes and 59 seconds. He's going to be happy.
Oh, he just hit 150. What's our overall time so far? Do we know? Does it show here? The actual start? When
Well,
we
it shows that
started
we've been on for 2 hours and 38 minutes, but it's not showing their total time.
I have their start time approximately. Let me get their official start time.
Yep, there we go.
I'll find it just a second.
No, he's heading down to like 115 now, back up to 120. So he's really close to patriotic duty.
Now, my notes here, and if you have anything related to this, says the first recorded U.S. offshore race in 1911 was the 79-mile Catalina Island Challenge. You have anything on that?
From 1911?
1911?
Well, I know my grandfather.
1911.
Well, he was born in 1913, so
Yeah. I'm thinking,
1911. Yeah, I have no info on
I
that
have
one.
no info on that one. But of course, it does say 1968. Your dad dubbed it your grandfather dubbed it the Rum Run.
Yeah, we got this really cool trophy, that perpetual trophy that for the Rum Run.
Barrel with.
It's got an old spittoon on the top from the LA Athletic Club out here, and then it has a big rum keg underneath it. And then we've just started adding all the plaques with all the different drivers and times and whatever. Okay, 106.4. So we lost the telemetry on all the other boats except Nigel now.
And it looks like he's frozen also. So we'll see what it comes up. He's, in order for him to, and we just dropped his number. So he's going to have to maintain a number way over 112 in order to beat that 1 hour number.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
To beat his previous time.
yes.
Just looking out here, out to the off the pier, looking at the surf, and actually there's a pretty good sized swell out here. So they're running into some swells. It's got like a little bit of a south bump to it, and as a surfer, I would say it's about 2 to 4 feet or so for any surfers that understand that, and for the boaters. So that's a good little swell to be running in, especially at 150 miles an hour.
So Eric, tell us a little bit about what is on it Pro. What do you do when you're not doing this? What is your
On It Pro is a company that I started back in 2007, and the product line came out of the boating industry. And I kind of brought it to the surfing and the paddling and other water sports people. And the main product is a polymer that reduces the friction on the bottom.
Okay, a speed coat.
A speed coat that is really amazing, because what's great about it is it actually sticks and stays on the hull or on the surface. So you don't lose it after 5 minutes on the boat.
Right.
You could run a boat at 150 miles an hour and it's on there. When we took it off our boat years ago, we had it on for 6 months. You could still see that the coating was on there. It's an actual coating that applies to the surface. And so we've been putting it on surfboards and paddle boards and all the paddleboard racers and stand-up paddle guys. And it's kind of the industry I've kind of fallen into lately. Got out of the boating thing and
But
dropped
kinda
down our
changing the
speeds dramatically, you know, from, you know, the 100-mile-an-hour range down to, you know, 5-10 miles
It's
an
a
hour.
function of horsepower. You're now manpower.
Exactly.
You're
It's
the
a whole,
manpower
it's a whole different deal. So, you know, these guys need more of a, something to help them, give them more glide and
About efficiency.
speed. And it, yeah, it really works. It protects the boards and protects the surface of
Keeps
the
them
hull.
easier to clean.
Makes
and
it easier
everything
to clean. Yeah, the salt water just washes right off. And we've got a lot of, just about all the top paddle boarders and many top pro surfers use our product. And there's a name, the old Kanoa Igarashi, who you see his name all over Huntington Beach here. He's a local fella. And we started working with him when he was about 8 years old. And now he's number 5 in the world and came really close to being world champion this year, and has been using our product line all these years. So that's kind of what we do. Just do that. And it's a lot of fun just working with these, you know, it's kind of a different group of people, but they're all good people. So that's what I do on at pro.com. Check it out.
Are there any boat teams that reach out to you for your speed coating?
No, we haven't worked with any of the boat teams yet. I've actually worked with a few like stock outboard guys just for fun. But on the big boats, we haven't worked with anybody yet. Our manufacturer kind of is doing that themselves, giving it to the boat guys, the manufacturer. So we've got kind of the exclusive in our little industry.
Okay.
So I'm not really working with the performance guys, but it's a really good product line.
Yeah, I know with the guy that
So-
created the stuff in Tampa, in the Tampa area, that created that stuff.
Well, that's probably a different
Yeah,
brand. Yeah, there's
I'm
a
sure.
few different types that are out there, but yeah, it's a
And
polymer.
we
but-
all were on the industry side, or the sanctioning body side. We were somewhat critical of, you know, those guys, because then they start putting them in engines. You know, thinking it reduces the friction there,
Right.
blowing up gear cases, all that kind of stuff.
That doesn't
That's
work,
Another whole,
no.
another whole story. Okay, what do you got?
Okay,
for
we
us?
got an
A bunch
update
of
here.
boats popping back up. Patriotic
Okay.
Duty is still in front of the Lucas Oil boat. They're got a nice speed.
You
running
said
there.
you said that with a certain amount of a little less anger than I expected to hear there.
It's a fact. Facts are facts.
That's right.
Data doesn't lie.
That's
so
right.
here we are,
That's right.
and they've got a good clip going.
Doing about
They're
90
good.
They're
patriotic.
moving. They've been consistently fast.
Yes, this is great. And then Revelation Racing's got a great speed going. They must
They're
be
at
on the
about
lee side
75
there.
miles an hour, Revelation.
Where are they in the course? Yeah, they're in that nice flat part where Nigel was going 140. So they got a good speed going there too. So Nigel's around Ship Rock. So it's a race back to the airbox.
Well, and you know, if the water's nice, Nigel has definitely got the speed that he can catch him at that, because he can run double the speed that he's running, that the other boats.
Yeah,
running
he's
right.
picking
Here
up
he
the
goes.
speed right now.
And he, you know, the throttles are going forward. He's climbing
Oh, yeah.
106, 108, 110.
I'm looking forward to seeing where Ray Marine comes out when he gets to that flat part with those turbines. That'll be nice. Nice to see.
And patriotic is at about close to 90.
Yeah, they're doing great.
Hey, the good, you know, this is an endurance race, and everybody's still running. So
That's a major factor.
that is a big deal.
Major
Sorry,
factor.
maybe I shouldn't have said that, but I'm not the one in the boat. So
Look on the screen right here. It says, did Lucas Oil hit 142?
Oh, they hit 150.
yeah, they did hit 150. That was Dave Hines asking a question.
Yep. 150, Dave.
Yeah.
I would like to just take an opportunity and give a shout out to the Pacific Airshow. Kevin Elliott, who is the producer and owner of the air show, is amazing. He's given us this huge opportunity to be part of a fantastic, spectacular weekend. And I don't know what I would do without Cheyenne. Cheyenne Hit is amazing. And I'll take another opportunity here to say that he has a second air show being produced in Australia at the Gold Coast next August. And I'm working with the local Australian people to put on an Ocean Cup as part of that air show. So stay tuned for that.
Oh, sounds awesome.
I love the air shows, as we were mentioning earlier. I mean,
Yeah.
I just moved from the Fort Lauderdale to the southern Alabama area, so we are right where the Blue Angels home base is. So kind of get spoiled. We get to see them practicing rather regularly. So I love coming out to my hometown in Huntington Beach to see it. So just a lot of fun. I love air
It's a
shows.
lot of fun. Yeah. Thanks to Kevin for doing all that and for being a part of our event here. Let's see, Lucas, they're just hit the 100-mile-an-hour mark, backing off again, but they're right on the, looks like they're right on the transom of patriotic duty.
Yeah, they caught up to them pretty quick. but he's got a lot of speed. He's got to push a lot of speed if he's going to bust his previous time. He's over 100 again.
Yeah, it looks like Patriotic Duty lost their connection for a bit here, so we're not sure if he's passing them. Oh, there.
Nope, he hasn't caught him
He's
yet.
still chasing them
It
down.
looked like he was passing him, but
But he closed the gap.
Yeah, we should be getting solid 4G pretty quick here.
Now, what about our helicopter shots? Have we any?
They're coming back as soon as they get to start.
Okay, so they're going to come for the start for the finish.
Yeah, there was a low ceiling over Catalina, so he wasn't able to go to the island. So he's waiting for them to come back onto the 4G where the ceiling is good for helicopters.
Lucas Oil running at 105 range right now. So they probably have a little bit of a following sea with the swell.
It shows it's 112.5 miles that they're running.
Sounds about right.
It shows. Yeah. UIM approved 112.5 miles.
And that's because, it's 26 miles there. It's about 26 miles across and it's 26 miles back. But they run all the way around the backside of they run to Ship Rock. Then they have to, so they're running the entire circumference of the island and then turn back from there. So they're running a little bit more than 26 times 3. It's almost 26 times 4 because they're doing the full circumference of the island. And I'm not sure how close they run to the island on the backside, because it's really the way the island curves. Their straighter shot across is actually going to be a shorter distance, but it might also be the nastier way to go.
Lucas Oil, this is our, you read?
And Lucas Oil is closing that gap right now on Patriotic Duty. Patriotic Duty's running 78. Lucas Oil's running 105.
Hey, that's the wizard. Cannot hear or understand you. Over.
I put some great video up on, I have a Facebook page, a tribute to my grandfather, the Bob Nordskog Facebook page. And I put some really great video of boats running out to Catalina, Betty Cook and all the old timers. So there's some really great footage if you want to take a look at that.
I was just reading something about Betty Cook. She's one of the first women to be inducted into the Motorsports Hall of Fame.
Incredible. She was really an incredible woman and nice lady too. Really nice.
The old days, if you're looking for pictures, that would have been the Kama boat, right? That was one of the key boats around Kama.
Yeah. She had the Mongoose and then the Kama. Now that Kama boat is now back in service. Christian Toll out in, where does he live? He's overseas. He's not out here. He's out in Europe. Has refurbished that boat and brought it back to life, as well as the Dry Martini boat.
Wow.
Are now back. So two of the old original offshore boats have been completely restored to where they looked back in the old days, and they're actually racing and running them now, which is
awesome.
Really cool. Yeah, that is really awesome.
Alexei Sahajian just commented on there that the race boat I was talking about that we set the record in is back, getting completely refurbished to go back into service. So it'll be neat to see that boat.
Are they going to keep it original?
I don't know what they're going to. That boat was originally built for the Ocean Spray team. So that boat was originally Ocean Spray when they switched over to the Fountain, because they were in the Scarab for the long time also. And then that boat became the Matco Voyager boat, and then it got sold. We sold it, and it ended up being and they're running it in the P classes, production classes.
Just give you a little history on this race too. It says the very first recorded USA offshore race in 1911. They called it the Catalina Island Challenge, a 79-mile run from Long Beach to Catalina. And then in 1968, a legendary racer, which was my grandfather and founder of Powerboat Magazine, Bob Nordskog, he dubbed the race called the Rum Run to commemorate an era when fast boats transported liquor into San Pedro, Oceanside, Long Beach, Santa Barbara, and other Southern California ports from offshore islands. Over the years, Bob Nordskog won this race 9 times on courses which varied along Southern California's coastline from Malibu to Huntington Beach. Now, the Pacific Airshow was brought back to life in 2016. and has been a cornerstone event in Southern California ever since. Pacific Airshow is not just an air show. Since its launch, the spectacle scale event has grown to become the largest air show in the United States by attendance, attracting millions of spectators to Southern California every fall. Now, that is really terrific.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Again, our sponsors are Fletcher Jones Motor Cars, Weaver Consulting Group, Rip Beer Company, and Cheval Winery in Eden Valley, and Swingwire Media.
So at this point, I'll bet you Nigel has the rooster tail in sight. What do you think, Martin?
I would think so. Visibility looks like it's pretty good. He's going to be, they're just off to their starboard bow, and they're catching up pretty quick. And they've got, they're 20 miles an hour ahead of them right now. So
Yeah.
they're gonna wind them down. They're gonna wind them down well before they get to the coast.
Good. Boy, I'll tell you, Patriotic Duties had a good run going along here. That boat was just completely re-rigged with big fuel tanks to get ready for the San Francisco to Marina del Rey and Long Beach race, which has been postponed. They've put in new engines. They've got new wrap. Steve has done a fantastic job getting that boat ready. Tony Adams is driving it, and then their crew chief, Alan Bellinghausen, has been really great to work with. This is a first-class team here.
Do you know whose engines are in that boat? It just says 572-inch tall decks.
Oh, no, it should say Mercury 1550s.
No, that doesn't. So
Yeah.
they're running 1550s.
Yes, they are. They just replaced the engines they had, and so now they're running the Mercury Racing engines 1350, 1550s, I believe.
Okay, those are the dual calibration motors that we were talking about.
Janet just mentioned that they put extra fuel tanks in that boat. It's the same thing we had to do when we did and Grandpa did his record runs in a 39-foot 39 cigarette, which was actually the very first Kevlar hull that was built. But we took out the ballast tanks and basically put fuel tanks in there. And I think they could run like 500 and something gallons or something.
I hope the
of fuel.
helicopter's on that shot.
And of course, the boat just gets faster and faster as it gets lighter.
Exactly.
Now what's going on now is Patriotic Duties looking over their shoulder going, here comes Nigel if we got anything more. Because now they're definitely within sight.
They're having a race.
Our
You can tell they're
telemetry
racing
looks-
out here. They're
Our
racing.
telemetry looks like they're nose to transom.
Yeah, they're racing. Patriotic Duty's looking back going, uh-oh, I see that red boat coming up on me.
Well,
Keeps
he's got
putting the hammer
marching
down.
up on him fast. He's almost got 20 miles an hour on him.
That's going to be pretty. I hope the helicopter's on that.
Now, it doesn't really show, when we look at this, it doesn't really show the distance between them.
Yeah, all we see is a relative distance.
Yeah, I'm curious what that actual distance is. But yeah, Nigel's up to 109, 110, and Patriotic is still up in the 90s.
That's a V bottom against the catamaran right there.
Yeah, that's a good race going on.
And it's Outer Limits right now that actually holds the world V bottom speed record. They're the ones that are 177.
That is amazing.
Yeah, that was the hardcore battle. That's what evolved to be the new big rivalry.
Isn't that
First it was
crazy?
Scarab Fountain, then it's Scarab Cigarette Fountain. Reggie's dream was always for somebody to walk into a cigarette booth and go, "Is that one of those fountains?" As opposed to every time somebody would walk into the fountain booth and go, "Is that one of those cigarette boats?" Used to just frost them.
That's almost double of what my grandfather's record was initially.
Yeah.
That really tells you something of how far the technology has come.
And a lot of that is, thank you, Freddie Kiekefer, for Mercury, and inventing the stern drive is really what allowed, put that much more horsepower to the water. So it looks like they've got ahead of them now.
And I'm just looking at the very rough start times, and Patriotic Duty started around 7:31 and Lucas Oil crossed about 7:41. So there was about a 10-minute difference.
They're already over an hour.
Yeah, now he's passed him.
Yep. I'm wondering why we're not seeing Ray Marine yet. I'm hoping that I want to see some of those speeds on the lee side.
Looks like the Navy start time was at, what was that, 7:20? I think it showed.
Let's talk about the Their race time was 33 minutes,
40 seconds.
40 seconds.
Is that what it is?
Yes, 41 seconds.
But they didn't go around the island.
No, they did a stealth course, a secret.
Secret course.
Yes.
So they can claim a victory?
They're going to win. Nobody's going to.
I won't make any political comments on that.
Yeah, and they got firepower on those
That's
boats.
right. That's right. They're going to win
I'm
every
sure that
time.
I don't know if they're locked and loaded, but I'm sure they got something on board. That's really terrific that the U.S. Navy came involved, and
Let's see how
as the
far
U.S. Navy is involved with, that does the Blue Angels, and are the Thunderbirds Navy too, or is that an
Thunderbirds
Army?
are Air Force.
Oh, that's Air Force. Okay, so the Blue Angels are Navy.
Correct.
What is
I
the
don't know if
Army? Does the
And
Army
I
have
don't
a
know if this
team?
year if the Thunderbirds are going to be here, if it's just the Blue Angels.
I thought it was reversed. I thought the Thunderbirds are going to be.
Yeah, I'm not sure which one is which.
Yeah.
Thunderbirds are F-16s. The Navy's Blue Angels are F-18s.
Either one, they're just both incredible to watch.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
We see our Navy boat on there.
Now,
Wow.
you said the Navy boat will be on display as well. Now that'll be really cool to see. That's what I wanted to see up close.
Well, we want to thank all of our military people for their service, and that is one of the cool things. What I heard it said so well is, the sound of those jets. That is the sound of freedom.
There you go.
Indeed.
So
Okay,
thank you to all the
there-
men and women of the military for your service.
Now you look at that Navy boat, the way it's designed with the angles and stuff. It's almost like it's set up like a stealth fighter. There's no rounded edges on it. You see that?
Yep.
It's-
They get their engines from Innovation. They're
In
Nigel was-
Sarasota.
Yeah, in Sarasota. Yeah.
Mhm.
Here's the boat this morning.
So it looks like Nigel's up, still up at about 105. He's definitely over the 100-mile-an-hour mark.
Those look like Mercury
Cruising.
6 drives on the back of them too. Are they 6s or are they 8s?
I didn't ask about the drives. I
The
was
picture
curious
of
about
the transom,
engine.
they definitely look like 6 drives.
Okay,
So
and they're diesel engines.
Question, where's Ray Marine?
we have not seen Ray Marine pop up on there, Tanya.
And then where is the turbine go?
Yep, Charlie's asking the same question.
Yeah, we're not getting any telemetry. The only one we're getting right now is Lucas Oil.
And they are just getting ready to pass one of the final check marks before they get to the coast.
Where's Eric?
Now they're going to finish right off the pier again, right?
I think so.
So we'll be seeing him. I like this location we're at now. We can actually see him come by then. We should be seeing some sort of rooster tail pretty soon, looking out our window here. You can see a lot of people starting to come down for the air show and getting set up down here. So again, come on down this weekend, check out the boats. Come on down today. And
And actually, this afternoon, you're welcome. They're invited everybody to come down to Sunset Aquatic Marina down at the end of Edinger Avenue. So just get on Edinger Avenue and head west, and we're at dead ends. That is Sunset Aquatic Marina, and that's where all the boats are going to be staged. Looking forward to going down there and seeing some of the guys, but then I'll see them all on the dock here.
yeah, they'll be there over at about 10 a.m. or so.
I would think so.
Somewhere around there.
Now they're going to be coming to the coast to the south of us, and they're going to make a turn to come north up towards the pier, because I think the pier is where the actual start finish, where the timing is happening. And Janet's nodding her head yes, so that's accurate.
Eric is getting into positions for a helicopter view here soon.
All right.
Excellent. Sounds like our helicopter is getting in position.
Fast loud photography.
Fast loud photography.
Fast loud?
Fast loud photography.
Fast Loud Photography, Eric Biner, right?
Briner.
Briner. Okay, Eric Briner. He's going to get some great shots from the helicopter at the finish here.
Yeah, Eric's been part of the Ocean Cup team since 2019. He actually designed the Ocean Cup logo. He's got great graphic skills as well as being a videographer. And last weekend, he was the organizer of the Catalina Fun Run. So he's really involved in all aspects of this.
Well, the Ocean Cup has a really good team here, starting with Janet Wilson, and we have Nico over here, and and Kelly Gunn. We have just such a great team that is putting on this event for us all, and got Martin sitting next to me, and And let's see, where are we at now? Now we lost the telemetry.
They should be coming in.
We should be able to see them any moment then.
Yep, they should be coming. They'll come right, I see a rooster tail right over there.
Okay,
That's probably Nigel.
I do see a rooster tail coming,
Where's Eric?
and it's definitely not a
I don't
rooster.
know.
He's made his turn, heading for home.
Yep. Yep. So here comes Nigel.
Now, he has to go around another checkpoint though, and then come straight across. He can't just cut, right?
He
So
made
he's,
the checkpoint.
oh, he
Sorry,
did.
made the
Okay, so
checkpoint.
he's,
There
oh,
we
here
go.
he comes.
Right there.
Here he comes. He's flying by right now.
Woo!
Almost in front of the pier in about 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. In front of the
Wow.
pier right now. He just
Nice.
finished. He gave everybody on the pier a nice show as he zipped by.
So it's about what, 8:50?
854.
8:54.
So it didn't beat the number from last time. Tells me it was a little bit rougher out there than it was last year. It's always a bit more deceptive. You know, I know from the years of racing, we always stand out on the shore to try to get a sense for what propellers we want to put on the boat. And when you're standing on shore looking, it is totally different than when you ultimately get out there. So it's still always a bit of a guess.
We got another fast
Is
boat
that,
in the airbox.
Is that patriotic there?
It must be Patriotic Duty making their finish. Wow, they look
That was a
good.
pretty close finish. And
90,
yeah,
92 miles an hour. We lost telemetry on.
yeah, patriotic
Nigel's
is
18,
about
but
5 seconds from the pier. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. He just crossed the front of the pier right now.
Woo, Patriotic Duty at 8:55.
And he was smoking.
Even off planet Iowa, we can barely hear you.
Yeah, that was a good run.
I can't get Eric.
That was close.
And we can't tell where everybody else is right now. We've lost connection with everybody else out there. We don't have any information. Doesn't mean that there are any issues, just means that we don't have a good cell connection for them.
We don't really know what the visibility was out there too, out at the, you know, out at the island. The visibility could have been really down. So maybe that's why they, you know, the speeds were down as well.
And certainly the boats that aren't as fast, the speeds aren't nearly as big of a, you know, the visibility is not nearly as big of an issue as the boats that are capable
Going
of 100 miles
150,
an hour.
That is for sure.
And again, this is live coverage of the 2022 Ocean Cup live from Huntington Beach, California, and the Pacific Airshow and UIM APBA World Second Record-Setting Powerboat event. I'll wait for the other boats to pop up on the screen here so we can get a sense where everybody is. All of our images are going to just shift all at once as soon as they pop back into range.
Yeah, we're still looking for them. I'm sure they're out there.
Where is Eric?
Now, did we get the helicopter over
I
the
don't-
finish?
I'm not sure what's going on. I called him and texted him, but he's not on. Live feed issues.
Well, we want to thank all our listeners out there who are just out listening to the broadcast and checking out this really cool race of the Ocean Cup. And we appreciate you listening to us and taking the time.
I'm kind of watching several screens at one time here, and I'm sure that none of the emails I'm seeing popping up are. I'm kind of watching things happen. I've got customers. We've got a closing this afternoon, so it's busy, and get back to some customers when we have a break here. But our business is rocking and rolling with boat sales, and we're just happy as can be to have been able to be out here for this. So, but if you're looking to sell a boat or looking to buy a boat, give us a call at Sunset Boat Sales. You can go to sunsetboatsales.com and check a look and see what we've got. Based offices in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, or Oliver Marine Center down in Miami, actually, and in Alabama. But we sell boats and list boats from all over the country, all over the world, actually. So it's kind of fun to be international. And
Terrific.
deal with a lot of high performance stuff, but big center consoles, cruisers, we can get you taken care of.
Excellent. Yeah, we need more boats out here on the West Coast.
The boating is so different out here. I'm so happy to be able to explain to people the difference when you're boating on the East Coast, and the Great Lakes are another whole different animal. Gene Stevens is one of the guys that's our timing and scoring guy here, and we were at a race up in just out of Chicago. He goes, I have never seen waves come to a point before. Yeah, it's just the water comes, there's just no rhythm. You know, it's a whole different animal. So the boating is different all over the country. The Pacific is just known for big, giant swells. The hardest part about boating on the West Coast is destinational boating, we used to say. You know, the ability on, if you're on the East Coast, you can go with the Intercoastal Waterway, you can go up and down the whole coast, go to restaurants, all those kind of things.
Yeah.
It's a lot harder to do here because you leave a marina here and you're in the Pacific.
Right.
So you need a boat that can handle it. But, you know, most of us that are from Southern California did a lot of our boating out at the Colorado River, Lake Mead, Lake Mojave, Lake Powell, all of those areas.
Helicopter's coming back. See her in a minute.
Okay.
Helicopter's heading back. He
Okay.
said.
Helicopter is on its way.
So looking forward to seeing all the guys. I mean, I love coming out. I didn't get a chance. We got in yesterday afternoon, and the upside is my family's here, so I got to visit the family all day yesterday. Normally would have run down to the pits if I got here a day earlier to get a chance to see everybody beforehand. So I always like seeing Nigel. I mean, we just go back all the way to racing out here in Pacific Offshore and watching his career expand into us being involved racing in Europe with the P1 series. Just got a chance to go to, and I know they were actually helpful in even me getting involved. So just a load of fun.
Are we getting a helicopter feed yet?
Yeah.
Looks like it's.
Coming. There you go. You can see Eric on the screen right now.
Okay. Is that Erica?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so here are our start times, and right now it is exactly 9 a.m. So Revelation, number 599, their start time was 7:19:04. Jolly Roger started at 7:23:04. Patriotic Duty started at 7:29. Ray Marine at 7:33, and Lucas at 7:37. So we don't have official finish times yet to see where they were, but just kind of quickly looking at the clock, it doesn't look like Lucas was able to top their number from last year. Which, you know, also in addition to saying that it was a little rougher than last year, also just tells you what an amazing feat it was at the number they did last year. I mean, that's a big deal.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, the closest I've done to marathon is a really long poker run where for a long period of time you're running at high. Because we have turns at each end of them, so we may be running 130 for a straightaway, but you're still slowing down to get around that turn and changing things. The poker runs, it seemed like Lake of the Ozarks in particular, the runs are so long that you're running for a long time at 140 miles an hour.
Wow.
Remember, we were at Lake Havasu and got a chance to run the last one I won the championship, and it was called the Global Warmer with Dan Davies. And we used to boat at Lake Havasu all the time, my family. And as soon as I finished the run from London Bridge to Parker Dam at the card stop, I just texted my son and said, I just made it from London Bridge to Parker Dam in like 7 minutes.
I was going to say
there's no possible
minutes,
way, Dad. I said, yeah, well, we were doing a 140 the whole way. It was awesome.
Looks like a boat maybe coming. It looks like a little boat coming in here, entering the airbox.
We lost a telemetry on.
Could just be a spectator for the air show.
It doesn't look like he's going very fast.
And he's way offshore from making that final turn.
Yeah, I don't think that's one of our people.
Okay.
But we still don't have any of those other boats popped up on telemetry.
I wonder why. Why would that be?
Yeah, it pulled off.
Is there a problem with the telemetry, or are they just in a different? I wonder, because there's 3 of them that we're still missing.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that because the cell signal should be better as they get closer, because we get right into a 4G system. So the helicopter's on its way out. We'll see if he runs into anybody. They just reset the live stream, so let's see if that resets.
Oh, patriotic. Oh, never mind.
So all I see on the live stream are the course markers and one of the support boats. Yeah, I see the support boats. I'm not seeing any of the other race teams. Sorry, there was a comment on there that popped away and I missed it beforehand.
Okay, there's the helicopter.
Oh, that's Blake. Okay.
Who's in the helicopter? Janet? Do you know who's in the helicopter? Who? Who's in that helicopter with Eric? Somebody named Darren? Darren, okay.
Now they'll be heading back over to the dock, I'm guessing, right?
I would
Right
think so.
away.
They're gonna come by here and then they'll head themselves back over to Sunset Aquatic. So Janet, how are people going to be able to look at this down the road, or for people that came in towards the end of the broadcast and want to go back and see some of the earlier stuff? Is it going to be linked on Ocean Cup? Is that where they'll go to get it?
Yes.
Okay.
So we're gonna be putting it out,
Perfect.
highlights. Let's talk about Sunset Aquatic, where everybody can see the boats.
Yep, Sunset Aquatic at the very end of Edinger Avenue in Huntington Beach. So if you get yourself anywhere to Edinger Avenue, go west until it ends. You'll go over a little bridge, circle around. That's the marine.
Third
Water.
year in a row hosting us.
Thank you.
Third year in a row hosting. Yeah, you definitely want to see these boats up close. And if you come at the right time, you can actually meet the drivers and the crew and everybody like that. So
And they'll
come
be
on
here Main
down
Street tomorrow.
and on Main Street tomorrow. Yeah, we lost the helicopter feed and we still don't have the telemetry on the other three boats. Where are they? Maybe they decided to hang out at Avalon for a while and get some breakfast or something.
Made a stop at the casino, maybe?
Yeah, I do see the helicopter up. I can see him out there right over the pier. There's our helicopter.
Well, definitely don't see him out there right now. It's 9:05.
Yeah, the helicopter is just circling around the end of the pier here. I see him doing that, waiting for the other boats and maybe getting some good shots of Lucas Oil and Patriotic Duty, which are already in. It's kind of an overcast day down here in Huntington Beach today. The sun is not out yet. It's a little overcast, a little chilly for at this point. But the weekend, it looks really good down here. The weather should be really nice. And I'm not sure about how the air show goes. If they have this type of ceiling of the,
I've seen them do it in lower ceiling conditions. It's harder to see the stuff that goes up, and they don't like flying through the clouds when they're that close.
Yeah.
So, but fortunately, it's always like that down here,
Yes.
and then it just burns off.
Usually it burns off. Yeah.
In fact, when I got on the plane yesterday, they said it was overcast, and when we were coming to the line, it says partial clouds.
There
and
you
clear.
go. Well, we get all that heat out here. It's been very hot out in the Los Angeles or Southern California lately.
And Carrie asked she goes, "What's the weather going to be like?" And I had just looked at the news, and it was like, all the West Coast is in the hundreds.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago, we were up to over 110 or something out kind of where I live, little too hot. Yeah, now I can see the helicopter. He's just kind of like hovering right off the end of the pier here. Such a beautiful pier and location out here in Huntington Beach. And just doing this in conjunction with the air show was a terrific idea. So thanks to the.
They did that a little bit on the East Coast also, in conjunction with the Fort Lauderdale Boat Show.
Yes. So this was Tom Bogner introduced us to Kevin Elliott. Tom's with Lucas Oil, and they cover all these different motorsports on the West Coast. And they said that we should meet up with Kevin in the air show, and it's grown from there. So thank you to Lucas Oil.
Thank you, Lucas Oil.
So the plan right now is Eric's got 10 minutes of flight time. He's going to take a spin out, get eyes on the other boats, and then he's going to have to land.
Yeah, with 10 minutes left. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, still nothing on the other three.
Wait, I think I see one coming right now. Wait.
So if you do see one coming, that means that telemetry was lost.
Can you tell, Martin?
Yeah, that definitely got those binoculars, but there's definitely one coming in right now.
Yeah, and the helicopter's right over, or pretty close to him.
Yeah, that's definitely over there.
Yeah, if you're going to come on down here to Huntington
Right now,
Beach,
is that a-
head down soon because the traffic is starting to build up down here. Yeah, we're checking with the binoculars, looking out the window.
Yeah, and a big shout out to the Weaver Group. I mean, this is an awesome place to be live streaming right at the pier. It's a beautiful facility. I couldn't ask for a better place to set up.
Yeah, I got beautiful offices here, really overlooking PCH and pretty much directly behind the pier. So it's a amazing, beautiful offices here. So yeah, again, thank you to Weaver.
It is definitely one of the boats. I can't tell who it is, but they also looked to me like they shaved off the last course marker.
It's right down the stream right now.
It's a little white boat. It's the Bat Boat.
Oh,
So
Bat
that
boat.
would be Jolly Roger.
Yeah, 2 engines. It's the Bat Boat.
So that's Jolly Roger.
Yeah, and the
Ken
helicopter's
Loncon and
right
Tim
off him.
Pattison.
Yeah, the helicopter's right behind him, so he should be able to get a good show. Okay, we got a good live shot right now of him coming in.
Third one to the line, the Bat Boat.
Want a special shout out to Nicole from Swingwire Media, doing all of the live broadcast setup for us and doing a terrific job. She's also a DJ, and you could find her as Nicole Knight out in the DJ series. Do you have a website, Nicole?
Not really.
No website. Okay.
NicoleKnightOfficial.com.
NicoleKnightOfficial.com. Yeah, she's at swingwiremedia.com here / the Ocean Cup.
So we are still missing a couple of boats, haven't made it back yet. Revelation Racing,
Call Kelly Gunn.
and we haven't seen Ray Marine, our turbine-powered boat, hasn't made it back either. Now, if the Ray Marine boat hasn't made it,
To divert and head to the Sunset Aquatic Marina.
So do they actually get a finish
So they will
time?
not get a finish
They
time.
don't get a
That's
finish
correct.
time.
This is a timed event. That's why we were trying to get off as fast
Correct.
as we can.
So they still have time. They still have time. We're 15 minutes away from close. And even if they're at the northern mark, they should be able to make it to the start finish line.
Yeah.
But the box is going to close.
And once the box closes, it's closed.
Now, are they allowed to, if they're in the box at 9, are they allowed to leave the box? They could just have to be in the box and across the line
Yes.
before 9 or
Before
9:30?
9:30.
So once they're in, then we have to clear the box. Gotcha.
They make it sterile for the air show.
Right. Now, on an air show note, while we have people here that might be in the Huntington Beach area, are boats allowed? Is there an area for boats to spectate the air show?
Oh, yes, I don't know if Nico has a picture handy, but last year there were 3,000 boats in the spectator fleet on Saturday.
Yeah, there's nothing like watching an air show from the water.
And
It is awesome.
3,000 boats. It's amazing.
That is a lot. It's a lot of boats.
It's a lot of boats.
In one place.
So if my buddy Rob's in town and you feel like going out on the boat, Karen, I'd be happy to go out and go on the boat with you to watch the air show tomorrow.
Well, they start their practice runs today, usually, right?
Usually,
so
yep.
we'll start seeing them pretty soon, or we'll start hearing them. You really don't see them; they go by so fast. Boom, they're gone. I actually got some great photos last year.
We got some, and the only other race that we've had regular, yes, I can't even talk right now, was at the Detroit Gold Cup. They had 2 F-18 Super Hornets, and each day one of them would come out and do a single, just crazy stuff that they would do, and it was just so close. And one of our buddies just got some amazing shots. I mean, he got the sound barrier shot, got him just on there when they tail walk.
Yeah,
Just and he got a shot of one of the F-18s running the race course, the boat race course.
nice.
I mean, his wingtip looks like it's 15 feet over the water as he makes a turn around a race buoy. Unbelievable.
That's
Okay,
that's
good.
awesome.
Okay, there's a boat coming in, race boat coming in now. How far out are
Race
they?
boat coming in now.
Right here.
Somebody's coming in.
47, they made the turn. Okay, and then we'll.
Oh, I can
which
see
one
it.
is.
Is that it?
Renegade
No.
is coming in. so
Okay,
we're still
Renegade.
Looking for the fountain. Copy. Do you want to head out and take a look for fountain?
There you go.
Yes, please.
Oh, that's a great shot.
They're unknown.
I got some pictures last year that were so close up you could see the pilot smiling, you know, in the cockpit. It's like
All right, they're
really
saying we've
amazing.
got one of the boats coming across right now. So this is going to be Revelation.
Copy.
And that's we got Michael.
Mike Drury and
Drury?
Chris Camry.
Okay.
Correct. You want to check with the
Chris,
Coast
one of the
Guard,
owners
Mr.
of
Rock,
Levy Craft.
and see if they made that turn? Did- Yeah, call that. Let me know.
Can I use the charger?
All right, got one boat left.
Got one boat left.
It did not pass checkpoint B, so we're checking with the Coast Guard who's covering Shiprock.
So we got the Coast Guard checking out to see where the other boat is. They could be broken down somewhere, or we will find them. Get them back home safely.
Will you tell the viewers that they can watch the Pacific Airshow?
We are 13 minutes away from the box closing.
Watch the Pacific Airshow via Hulu.
Via what?
Hulu.
Hulu?
Hulu.
Hulu. Oh, okay.
Saturday,
Yeah.
on Saturday.
Yeah, you can watch the Pacific Air Show via Hulu starting tomorrow and Sunday, I'm guessing too, right? Or just one day?
It's just Saturday.
Just the one day. So just be on Saturday. So check out the air show. Yeah, you can watch it live on Hulu. If you can't get down here, then that's the second best thing to do is just get on your computer, your phone, check it out. Yeah, it looks to me that the Patriotic Duty and Lucas are tooling in. They must be heading to the launch ramp because they're just idling almost. So if you're in that neighborhood, go over there and check them out. You really want to see these boats up close. I can't say that enough. It's like, wow. I remember seeing that rudder on that Lucas Oil boat the first time. like, what the heck? It's so big, you know, huge rudder, all stainless and just amazing. Really just a amazing piece of equipment.
I'm just pulling up the schedule for the air show so we can get some basic information on that.
I want to thank our sponsors again. We have Fletcher Jones Motor Cars. Been around for 76 years. An amazing, amazing company. Weaver Consulting. We want to thank them for the use of the office space here and for letting us hang out in their facility. Done such a great job for us. We also have Rip Beer. They're located at Sunset Beach, which is right up the street, really. Sunset Beach, right here. Yeah, it's right by Seal Beach, I guess. So Rip Beer. And who else do we got? Cheval Winery in Eden Valley. They're providing a bunch of sparkling wine for the podium that I'm sure if they're going to spray all over each other. And Swingwire Media. So thank you to all of them for supporting this event and helping us put on a great show with the Ocean Cup 2022. The dry pitch is at 2901 Ettinger Avenue. So if you need to go there, pop that in your GPS, 2901 Ettinger, Edinger Avenue. And you can go over and see the boats up close.
Yep, it is just at the western dead end of Edinger. So
Yeah,
if you get yourself on Edinger.
And we will all be over there at one point soon. And I will be over there with the Rum Run trophy. So if you get over there, come say hello. So we're still missing one boat that we don't know. And we're running out of time on the window here. You got about 10 more minutes before the window closes.
There's definitely still out of telemetry range, or something has happened with the telemetry system. Although we still have.
We're still showing, yeah, Lucas Oil and Patriotic.
Lucas Oil.
Yeah,
Lucas, we have.
Yeah, we still have theirs.
On the backside.
Somebody stuck on the backside. That's where kind of. Janet is on the cell phone communicating with somebody, trying to find out the location of the last boat.
So it was at least 40 minutes.
So if they're stuck on the backside, or if you break down, that's always a problem. You break down in an offshore race, you know, and
Especially a marathon one where you are well off the beaten path.
that's always the hard part, is to find just safety boats and patrol boats to sit there and wait. And then if somebody breaks down, they got to tow them all the way back at tow speed, you know. Oof. Which is, so we want to thank all our volunteers and people that help us with the patrol boat, the safety boats, and all that kind of thing.
Like at the end, happen without all the volunteers.
Absolutely.
Either on land or on the water resources, and then of course the medical safety people that we have out there.
Yes,
also.
Exactly. And the Coast Guard for clearing all this for us, and the city of Huntington Beach, and
Chris Rundell, the owner of Rundell Powerboats, said, I just got off the phone with Tim in the bat boat. He was laughing and smiling ear to ear. Said that they had the time of their life and that the water was huge.
There you
so
go.
That explains everything that happened on the backside. He said, congratulations, all the teams that competed this year in this life-changing event.
Terrific.
Bart, as of now, Revolution has not finished. I'm sorry. Yes, Revelation finished. I'm sorry. I was thinking of Ray Marine. Revelation has finished, but we don't know as far as did they hit the last mark, but they did come across the start-finish line.
Do we have their time here?
We have their time that they started.
Okay, yeah, they started 7:19, but no finish timing yet. We also want to put the word out to anybody who's got a race boat. Come on out. Come to the Ocean Cup next year. We'll get a good field of boats out here. And if you got a big boat and you want to race, come on out.
Calling all center consoles.
Calling all
Even
center
if you have a center
consoles.
console too. Yeah, that was a big deal last year when they announced that. MTI came out. My friend out here that our company sold him a 42 Mystic, and at one point we were talking about, maybe I'd like to do that. He said, well, all right, I'll just give up I'll either do some live commentary from the boat, or I'll just focus on running the boat. It'd be fun. So I would have had my chance.
Yeah, so if you have a boat and you want to get into offshore racing and give it a try, and you're on the West Coast or East, anywhere really, but we could use a lot more West Coast people out here.
Absolutely. Pacific Offshore was one of the largest clubs in the country.
We had a good field back in the old days.
We did.
There'd be, 30 boats maybe at some point. I can't exactly remember, but there was definitely a good field.
So Rick was asking, how did the Levy boat do?
Is he
They
in
finished,
yet?
but we
They
don't
did
know
finish.
that is the Revelation boat. So we know what their start time was. We don't know what their finish time was. They did come across the line.
Now, is Levy still on the West Coast?
Yes.
They are.
Levy's still out
Okay.
here.
Yeah, they're still out here. Okay.
I think the last time I was out at their facility, they're up by Paris.
Okay, so it's the same thing. Okay.
We are 5 minutes away from the box closing. So if they don't, of course, we haven't seen anything from them. Let's see if there's a place where we can see the last place that we had anything from them. So the last time we had a image from Ray Marine, they were just north of Avalon. So they were on the coast side,
Mm-hmm.
which is way easier to get them picked up than if they
Oh,
were
yeah.
on the other side.
Well, it shows Ray Marine. Their last was right here, right on the backside of the island.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking at Revelation was the last time that we had them. So Ray Marine's on the backside. You're right. That printing on that is really small.
But yeah, if you're stuck on the backside, you might as well just hang out for a while.
And hopefully not get pushed into the island.
Yeah. Well, we do have support boats out there and people that can tow them back. But again, yeah, that's a long tow, 30 miles back.
That is a long tow.
Yeah. I think I mentioned it earlier. We had that little solar boat thing I did with Larry Smith, and just a solar boat just took out to the island, just cruising it like 2 miles an hour out to the island.
Electric powered boat.
Yeah, solar electric deal. And he had his big cigarette right next to us trying to idle, but they were idling a lot faster than we were going in the little solar boat. It was just a little catamaran, almost like a little, like an old Hobie cat that was set up to have a little solar boat. Power.
Rick Allen was asking, is the Pacific Offshore race in Dana Point? He was an EMT rescue team for the first 2 years. Yes, that was Pacific Offshore, and that was one of the races on the tour. So we raced Dana Point, Huntington Beach, Benicia, Pittsburgh, San Francisco from time to time. That was all Papra. And then we also had a few races where we raced out in Lake Mead.
Like me, oh yeah.
So it was put on by the, what was the casino that put that on?
Correct. Last known.
But that was interesting racing out in
Well,
Lake
we
Mead.
used to have the World Speed Powerboat had the speed trials out at Lake Mead too, in conjunction with that race. They called the race the Lucky Las Vegas
Yeah.
race.
And I know that one of the casinos put it on, so we were based in the casino parking lot. It was pretty neat. Would not be the greatest place for speed record runs because you got a little bit of altitude and you got a little bit of heat, so it's not the super conducive for making power.
We also did some performance trials out there where we do boat testing at Lake
Yeah, I
Mead. But
remember doing performance trials with the magazines out there where we'd go out and just run them through their paces, and that was such a great sales tool for customers that were looking for boats. Get the magazine and go, all right, what did the guys that run these boats objectively have to say?
yeah, We still have a lot of the old powerboat magazines in stock, like all the, old issues. We've got a lot of old issues from the 60s, 70s, 80s, and even from the 90s. Anybody's interested in any old issues, you can contact me, Eric, at onitpro.com, and I can help you get an old issue. If a boat that you have is something that we tested a long time ago, we have all the test information and all that good stuff. So if you want to contact me, we can help you get one of the old magazines.
There's something cool about getting an old boat and finding out it was in a magazine, and now to find out you could actually get that magazine. It's kind of neat.
What was the website that you said?
Yeah.
What was the website?
For mine? Oh, it's just contact me directly. Eric with a K, ERIK at onitpro.com. Not too long ago, there's a fellow that contacted me, and he has that old Show Me boat. It was an old Talon. It was called Show Me, and he ended up with the boat years later. And we actually had that boat on the cover of Powerboat back in I think it was in the early 80s or something. And we even had a Powerboat plaque where we mounted the covers on these plaques and we'd hang them on the walls and whatnot. And so he just was really happy to get, because I had old, the original copies of the magazine with his boat on the cover. So he was really happy to get that from me. So if you want old magazines, any of that old memorabilia like that, you can contact me directly.
Well, the airbox is about to close,
You got
which
about 2
means
minutes.
that this race is officially over. We have not heard from Ray Marine. I'm sure we'll get it posted. So we are going to go ahead and wrap up for now. We again invite everybody to come down to the pits, which is at Sunset Aquatic Marina at the end of Edinger Avenue in Huntington Beach. And of course, all the boats will be down on Main Street tomorrow and Sunday. You're welcome to come down for the air show, the largest air show in the country. You're going to see some amazing military aircraft and some great civilian teams out there that do stuff as well. It's been a pleasure working with you again, Eric, and
Pleasure.
Wish you all the best of your stuff. And
Thank
you can find me at sunsetboatsales.com, and you got any contact information there to get us at sunsetboatsales.com. And love being out here in my hometown for the race. And there's just nothing like coming home, being around family, and getting to come and do this. It's one of those I have the joy of getting to work at what I love to do.
That's terrific. And yeah, thank you to the crew over here, the Ocean Cup crew, and Martin. It's been a pleasure again. And we look forward to next year and a much bigger event and more boats coming out. And Ocean Cup is it, man.
There you go. This has been live coverage of the 2022 Ocean Cup, live from Huntington Beach, California, and the Pacific Airshow, a UIM APBA world record-setting race. Thanks so much for listening, folks, and we'll see you down in the pits all over the weekend.
First off, forget everything you've ever known about air shows. We're talking 40,000 pounds of thrust racing across your chest at California's most iconic beach destination.
Huntington Beach, California, on one of the best.
And your best friends are all there because they want to be. Because it's not just an air show, it's an experience. We're talking the world's best performers and best teams pushing the edge of what's possible. Things that make you turn your head and scratch it at the same time. VIP meet and greets, social parties, epic hospitality, and a high-octane boat race around Catalina Island. Everything under the sun, and we're just getting started. It's not your hot dog, hamburger, funnel cake, county fair, Miss Maple Pie, make your gut hurt till next week, greasy cuisine. The best chefs are here stirring the pots for you again. It's the kind of air show you can have your Top Gun volleyball moment with your beers and best friends and take it all in. And you don't have to like airplanes to know it's bitchin', but don't take my word for it. Ask the million fans yourself. And just when you thought it couldn't get any better, Afterburner is just warming up. We're talking a crowd singing every lyric to your favorite song by your favorite artist right alongside you. Feeling the beach vibes all night long. And when it's all said and done, all you can think about doing is doing it again. Pacific Airshow, redefining the airshow experience.